Mecha battle starting from Gundam. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1169. People are divided into groups, and they are all bastards. Yang Hui and his party came to the central conference room. Durandal and Yang Hui were already waiting here. Fleet commanders such as Rebel also arranged the relevant matters of the fleet and came here later. With the arrival of Yang Hui and others, only Mrs. Doreen, Gop and others who were going to the world to handle affairs were missing. Yang Hui and his party were not in a hurry. They asked Minamijo Oriheim, Minamijo Saoshi, Makabe Fumihiko, and Jonathan Michihiro Baron to sit down in the empty seats and wait patiently. Familiar people also nodded to them. Most of the people present were familiar with them, so there was no need to introduce themselves again. Yang Hui and Durandal, who met for the first time, were not in a hurry. It would be no problem to introduce them together after Mrs. Doreen, Gop and others arrived. Not long after, Mrs. Doreen, Gop and others also arrived. Seeing new faces, there was no other reaction. Nodding was considered a greeting, and then Yang Hui introduced each other to everyone he met for the first time. Everything else was fine, but when it came to the introduction of Minamijo Oriheim, Durandal and other members who stayed behind in Promise Fortress were stunned. Did they finally have a non-human decision-making member? Well, let's start the plenary meeting now. First, I will give you a summary of the entire process of this mission. First, the first process was that Yang Hui told the overall process of this mission, mainly to let the members who stayed behind in Promise Fortress know all the processes of this mission, so that they could put forward more accurate ideas and opinions on subsequent topics. The second process was to summarize the harvest and rewards, and then decide how to use these rewards. The rewards for the Legion battle have always been very generous. Not only can the scale of Promise Fortress be further expanded, and various facilities can continue to be upgraded, but the most important thing is the huge amount of supplies. The current supply gap of Promise Legion is still very large. Among the ongoing projects, there is the Dyson Sphere, a big old swallower. This time, they suffered a great loss because they did not have a late-stage base. If there were not enough refugees, Festum would not have caused great damage to the ecological environment of the Earth, and there would be no demand for the supplies needed for human life, which would be really troublesome. The third process was reported by Yang Hui. When the Legion returned to the fortress, the Veda submachine that accompanied the Legion to the mission world uploaded all the data to the main machine. Yang Hui read all the technical information in a short period of time before the meeting. He did not study it in depth, but there was nothing wrong with his summary speech. In terms of technology, the biggest gain is the Festum Factor and Festum Core. The updates of the Dawn series and Rising Sun series have successfully solved the technical bottleneck problem of MES, but it's a pity that we can't cover 100%. However, with this experience, I believe that the members who cannot be covered can definitely be solved through other channels. Then, there are the new elements found in Joy Knight and Bloody Knight. Before coming here, I confirmed at the Research Institute that they can be unlocked and mass-produced in the production area, but the cost-effectiveness is too low and not worth it. The discovery of new elements can indeed allow some projects that were originally stagnant to continue. Professor Eefman and Mr. Wang did not study them thoroughly, but it doesn't matter. The Research Institute of the Fortress can directly solve the development and production problems, but, after seeing the price of mass production, Yang Hui directly rejected the plan of large-scale production. There is only one reason, that is, the price is too expensive. 1 kilogram of new element materials is more expensive than a solar furnace, and the superior performance of the new element itself is not so outrageous. Of course, the pricing of Promise Fortress is not random, so, this new element must have some good things that we haven't discovered yet. My suggestion is to put aside the plan of replacing materials for the time being, conduct research first, and figure out the hidden characteristics of this new element before considering whether to mass-produce it. As for the Divine Sword, it has been confirmed that the main material of the Divine Sword is also this new element, and there are some metals that have never been seen before. The energy conduction technology is also unknown, and there is also Divine Sword fusion. The focus of the research department's next work will revolve around the new element, and then, let me report on what's next. Durandal took over from Ialya Hutchenberg and continued, I've read the reports from the pilots of the Joy Knight and the Blood Knight. Based on my current knowledge, there is only one result when the genes of so many different races are fused into one body, and that is genetic collapse and turning into a mass of dead meat that no one knows what it looks like. And they actually succeeded, and they were able to clone it. If we do reverse research, we should be able to get something, such as neutralizers, fusion agents, alleviating agents, and the like. If successful, then the blood rejection phenomenon that has existed before may be solved, and there is also a chance of success for members with low compatibility with the Festum factor. No problem. The focus of the scientific research department will be on the research of new elements. Due to insufficient manpower, other projects will be suspended according to different situations. As for genetic engineering, Gilbert, I'll leave it to you. I hope you can produce some results this time. When saying this, Yang Hui's tone was slightly teasing, and the others around him also laughed. Of course, it was not sarcasm, but just a joke. After all, even if they didn't understand how difficult the genetic engineering that Durandal was in charge of was, they knew a little bit. After all, it involved the replication of blood. If it succeeded, then the members of the Promised Legion would no longer rely on chance to awaken their special blood. They all understood that there was no result. Of course, if there is no result this time, I will doubt my ability. Durandal shrugged and said half-jokingly. But you are not allowed to touch what you shouldn't touch? Yang Hui reminded Durandal that the fortress fully supported his research, but there were still some taboos that could not be touched. You don't need to remind me, I know the limit. Durandal replied with a sidelong glance at Yang Hui. Next, it is time to summarize the intelligence. This time, this link will be the most important of all the links. Not only will the Joyful Knight and Bloody Knight appear, the mastermind behind the scenes will show up for the first time, and the real enemy will appear before their eyes. At the same time, after this assessment, the information unlocked in the database is quite large and very important. 2 points first. First, we can confirm that the enemy force we are facing is called the Temple of Slaughter. The Cotters under its command are called Knights. Each Knight has a magic sword awarded by the leader. This magic sword is also half of their combat power, attack power, defense power, flexibility, and the move of magic sword fusion. So far, except for the Death Star, have Flagabskneten, cut, which can be destroyed in one blow, other known means cannot do it. The strength is enough to withstand 2 to 3 maximum equivalent reaction bombs. The other half of the combat power comes from special abilities. Yes, they also have special abilities. It is currently known that the Joy Knight can make the target motionless within a small range, but there is no way to conduct accurate tests, so the range, number of targets, stillness time, and principle are all unknown. The special ability of the Bloody Knight is speculated to be the growth and transformation of multiple limbs. In the field of intelligence, Cruz was responsible for reporting. While reporting, the corresponding photos and video records were played to help everyone understand intuitively. Then, the most important piece of information, although it has not been confirmed, but the possibility is very high. Cruz looked at Yang Hui on the rostrum, and seeing the other party nod, he continued, in the process of contact, whether it is Joy Knight or Bloody Knight, they all call Yang Hui a fake, so we speculate that the leader of the Temple of Slaughter is Yang Hui, to be precise, Yang Hui's alien isotope. As soon as this was said, all the participants were silent. The members who went to the Fafnir world of the sky to carry out the mission had already known about it, and were not surprised. Those who knew the news for the first time did not exclaim, did not whisper, only silence, and heavy expressions. Haha, it's you, Yang Hui. Durandal smiled and shook his head, with a playful smile on his face. You see, I'm not the only one who thinks so. Cruz understood Durandal's implication and spread his hands proudly. So I am so dark in your eyes? Yang Hui questioned everyone in the audience unhappily. Oh, not including the newcomers who joined this time. Nonsense. And they are all a bunch of bastards. Yang Hui sighed. Aren't you the biggest bastard? And everyone laughed as they talked. Whether it was Durandal and others who had just learned the news, or Cruz, Rebel and others who had known about it from the beginning, their thoughts were surprisingly consistent. That is, if it weren't for the people present and the companions of the entire Promise Corps, the darkness and madness in Yang Hui's heart couldn't be locked. Okay, since no one has any opinions to express, Then I will continue to report. Cruz raised his hands and pressed them twice, so that everyone who teased Yang Hui would quiet down. However, looking at the newcomers who had just joined, he noticed that Makade Fumio was about to raise his hand to say something, but was pressed down by General Minajo. Minajo Oriheim also shook her head at him, with a cold arc at the corner of her mouth, but she quickly retracted it and continued to report. Next, it's the content unlocked in the fortress's database. The content is quite large and it will take some time to organize it well. However, there is a part of the information that I think everyone will be very interested in, so I will report this part first, about our enemies, those we have met and will meet in the future. Chapter 1170, A Powerful Enemy, We Still Need to Fight Hard. First of all, Festum, I believe everyone is already familiar with it. As he spoke, Cruz released all the information about Festum. Before this permission was unlocked, the database had already unlocked the information about Festum, but from the various ordinary Festum at the beginning, to the Diablo type and Azazel type, it was not until now that the previously unknown Festums such as the Squire type and the Abyss Giant Mouth type were unlocked, and this kind of Festum, which is like a guard of honor, the elite Squire type Festum, the data collected in the battle matches the information provided by the database. It is an advanced type of Squire type Festum, slightly stronger than the ordinary Squire type Festum, and other special abilities are roughly the same. In addition, there are 3 types of Festum that we have never seen. For some reason, they did not appear in this mission. If they did appear, we would pay a greater price. As Cruz paused for a moment, 3 photos were projected on the big screen, and relevant text records were attached. The first type, the Fafnir type Festum, directly assimilated the Excalibur type Fafnir and turned itself into a machine. Not only is its own form exactly the same as the Excalibur type Fafnir, it can also use all the weapons of the Excalibur type Fafnir, and even adds external armor to the body. The single unit strength is stronger than the Azazel type, and the strength is comparable. Cruz paused again and looked at Yang Hui with a serious expression. Benchmarking A-class pilots with powerful strength, but there is good news. The number of this Festum is very small. According to the database records, the total number is about 100. Of course, this is the previous data. We don't know whether it has increased or decreased now. Then there is the second type, the battleship type Festum. There is no need to say more. According to the analysis of the records in the database, the main gun is as powerful as the heavy quantum reaction gun, and it can launch amoeba wormholes in the form of missiles. The last type. At this point, everyone's eyes turned to the last piece of information. In the information, the Festum no longer had the shape of a living creature, but was an extremely huge golden sphere, like a planet. Fortress-type Festum. According to the records in the database, there is only one known fortress-type Festum, but its size is 3 times the size of the Earth. It has its own attack capabilities, space jump capabilities, and a force field barrier. It is unknown whether the Dimension Devourer can break it. The most terrifying thing is that according to the records, this Festum has the ability to split itself. It cannot split the same fortress-type Festum, but Diablo-type and below Festum can split and produce very quickly. In that case, the problem is the core. The splitting production capacity of the fortress-type Festum cannot produce a Festum with a core. Its core cannot be split. From the known information, Fleet found the key point. At present, it seems to be like this. Cruz did not say it for sure. These data were left behind a long time ago. The Festum is a race that can evolve. Who knows if it will evolve again after such a long time? So, do the Knights not have the power to mobilize these 3 Festum, or do they think it's unnecessary? Rebel asked. We still don't know. Cruz wanted to know the answer to this question more than Rebel. If it was the latter, then he would sigh that the Promise Corps was lucky. If it was the former, then more questions would arise. For example, the mobilization authority of these 3 Festum was above the Cotters of the Temple of Slaughter. Are there any higher level Cotters above the Cotters? How many layers are there? What level is the Knight? Cruiser, continue. These questions could not be figured out now, so let Cruz finish reporting the known intelligence first. Next, it's our old friend, the body-eating snake. As Cruz continued to report, the information on the Festum was cancelled and replaced by the information on the body-eating snake. The information on the body-eating snake was not as much as that on the Festum. In addition to known snake eggs, pythons, and snake kings, There was only one type of body-eating snake that they had not encountered. Compared to the speculation and research based on the data collected on the battlefield, the data unlocked in the database is undoubtedly much more detailed, such as how strong the regeneration ability of the Snake King is, the specific power and principle of its breath, the power of a single scale shot, and the ability to devour its own kind or other life forms to restore itself. This unknown, body-eating snake, the code name in the database is called Snake Man. Well, a simple and direct code name. As you can see, the upper body is humanoid, the lower body is a snake's tail, it has multiple arms, can use various weapons, and can wear armor on the upper body. According to the database records, it is the highest level, body-eating snake, with high intelligence, not many in number, and very harsh conditions for birth. The intelligence report on the body-eating snake ended, followed by other enemy intelligence. It has to be said that there are quite a few races under the command of this Temple of Slaughter. For example, there is an insect creature called the Zago, which has a super strong reproductive ability and a very terrifying evolutionary ability. It is similar to Vajra but different. The Zago has basically no intelligence and obeys a high-level insect called the brainworm. Well, it is not quite appropriate to call it an insect. According to the information provided by the database, this brainworm only has the word insect in its name. Its body is a big piece of fat meat. Except for a cherry mouth, it has no other facial features, no limbs, and even no legs. It needs to be carried by other insects to move, and it also needs other insects to feed it to its mouth. However, in addition to being highly intelligent and being able to be smarter than ordinary Zago insects, this brainworm also has powerful mental waves that can make the heads of people around it explode directly. There is also a miner called Beta. Yes, it is a miner, which looks like an unintelligent race that is completely prepared for war, from ultra-small marines to heavy armored forces, beam anti-aircraft forces, heavy forces for fortress bombing, and space fleets, etc. But according to the records in the database, their position is miners, and they are sent to various planets to mine, using their hands and feet, using their shells, and using laser beams to mine. The role of the space fleet is to be a transport ship. Seeing these data, Yang Hui and others felt more and more depressed. They already knew how dangerous the snake and Festum they had encountered were. As for those they had never encountered, even miners like Beta have the ability to destroy world civilization. The Promise Corps is still not afraid of the Beta distance, but think about the real world that has not been able to leave the Earth. Can it stop their invasion? At least among the people present, the Gundam Age world, the Gundam Seed world, the Gundam UC world, the Gundam U world, and the four worlds clearly stated that if there is no feedback from the Promise Fortress, it will definitely not be able to stop it, and the best result is to perish together. This is all the information about the database and the enemy. There is no record about the Temple of Slaughter, and Night, including that, another U. If there is, that is the last time the authority is unlocked. Cruz concluded. Well, to sum up, we still need to continue to fight hard. Yang Hui smiled and said the most cruel words in the most casual tone. Puff ho ha ho ha. And except for the new members, everyone present laughed out loud, as if Yang Hui was joking, but even if he was not joking, they were not afraid at all. Ha ha ha, Yang Hui, this guy is really good at telling jokes, ha ha ha. That's right. Ha ha ha. Fight hard? When did we not fight hard? Our job is to fight hard, okay? Ha ha ha. Everyone understood that Yang Hui would never make such a joke, and which battle of theirs was not a fight? Which mission was not a fight? When did they not fight hard? Even during the rest time between missions, everyone was fighting hard. The logistics personnel fought hard to ensure the Promise Corps, so that they had no worries. The scientific researchers worked hard to study various technologies to provide the Promise Corps with more powerful weapons and safer armor. The combatants trained hard, seizing every minute and every second to improve their strength. Even ordinary people living in Promise Fortress are working hard to relieve the pressure of the members, so that they can deal with every crisis with a more relaxed attitude. So, Yang Hui is not joking, but also joking. Working hard? This is the thing they are least afraid of. Okay, stop laughing, now make a development plan for this month. First of all, the Dyson Sphere is the top priority. Mrs. Doreen, General Jipu, the Dyson Sphere must be completed before the next mission begins. Is that okay? Yang Hui clapped his hands to calm everyone down and start the next topic. We have just asked Prue to calculate it. Mrs. Doreen and Gop, who were named, nodded at each other, and then Mrs. Doreen reported, "The amount of materials obtained this time is very sufficient, enough to fully build the Dyson sphere, make up for the losses of the fleet, and have some left over. Okay, the main task of the production area is to build the Dyson sphere, then replenish the fleet, and then produce the Dawn series and Sunrise series, according to the remaining materials and the needs of the Legion." Understood. X2 Then it's the research department, old man. The research on new elements is given the highest priority, and then a team is separated to go to the Fafnir world in the sky to connect with Njalnir, the Fafnir Festum. If the other party can do it, we can definitely do it too. No problem, I would have proposed that even if you didn't say it. Ayala Hutchenberg nodded. For the rest, all departments should speed up training, notify the dead, fill in the vacancies, and any other ideas, you can put forward them. The subsequent topics are very simple. Everyone is familiar with the established process. They put forward reliable ideas and make up for the deficiencies, and the development plan for this month is set. The meeting was over and everyone dispersed. Yang Hui also planned to take Minamijo Oriheim and other newcomers to the simulation training room to see Makabaiki and the others, but before he walked out the door, Durandal, Garp, and Skneasel came to him at the same time. You too. Garp, Durandal, and Skneasel were all stunned for a moment, and immediately understood the other party's purpose, which should be the same as theirs. Chapter 1171 Return to the Worlds of Gundam UC, Part 1. In the world of Gundam UC, at the headquarters of the Earth Federation, in the office of the head of the logistics department, Jarzang stood beside Cardis with a stack of reports and handed them to him. "Master, this is a list of materials needed for assistance from various places, and this is, put it there." Cardis, who was working hard in a large number of documents, looked up at Jarzang expressionlessly. His tone was very calm, but those who knew him knew that this was a sign that a volcano was about to erupt. "Yes, Master." Jarzang still maintained a calm smile, put the documents where they should be, took 2 steps back, and waited beside Cardis. Cardis finally processed all the documents after writing furiously, and after Jarzang sorted and classified all the documents, he slumped in his chair and breathed a sigh of relief. Yang Hui, this bastard, created so many problems, and then he ran away. Not only did he run away, but he also kept asking for help. Is he trying to tire us to death? After the war, Cardis did not continue to be a businessman, but became the Minister of Logistics of the Earth Federation. Originally, he did not have so much work. After all, he was one of the powerful ministers of the Federation, the highest administrative chief of a field, and there were many people to help him do things. But, with the connection of more worlds, there are many worlds such as the Gundam G fighting world and the Sky Fafnir world that need to rebuild the government and new order. In this world, there is a huge gap in administrative personnel. There are no trustworthy people in the local area, so they can only be transferred from other worlds, and then, as a result, the highest administrative chiefs of various departments of the Earth Federation and various worlds have to go into battle in person. If someone can't stand it, it is estimated that they will soon become commanders without troops. Is it really that much? Is it not too much? This bastard. Others enjoy their life as officials, but we are just like cattle and horses. Look, we finally recruited a group of qualified personnel, but they are leaving again. We are almost left alone. It is even more cruel than when I was in charge of the Bister group. And this bastard, he didn't even come back to see me after so long. Does he still remember this family? So, you missed me. Huh? The tone and attitude were a little wrong, and the voice was familiar. It was definitely not Jarzang. Cardis looked up suddenly and saw Yang Hui leaning on his desk, looking at him with a playful smile. Yang Hui? You. I came in when Jarzang went out just now. I didn't want to disturb your rest. Yang Hui teased. It was not that he didn't want to disturb Cardis' rest. He just wanted to be a bit mean. Yang Hui. You bastard. Seeing the real owner, Cardis instantly turned into a beast and pounced on him, grabbing Yang Hui's collar and yelling at him in the face. You bastard. You actually knew to come back. Do you know how many things you left behind? There are already a lot of things. There are not enough people. And you keep asking people to leave. Do you want to tire us to death? There is nothing we can do. Yang Hui smiled awkwardly. Not only the Gundam UC world, But also the Gundam Age world, Gundam U world, and Gundam Seed world are facing the same dilemma. No matter how many years have been spent in the mission world, a mission cycle, Promise Fortress and the connected world have only passed 1 month, and counting the 1 month of rest, it has only been 2 months. Calculate it. The Gundam Age world that has been connected to Promise Fortress for the longest time has only been about a year and a half. In a year and a half, how many people with sufficient ability and loyalty can be cultivated? But there is really no way to deal with the Gundam G fighting world and the Sky Fafnir world. The Gundam G fighting world is okay. The people transferred there only need to stay for a period of time, screen the high-level officials of those countries, clean up those who should be cleaned up, and promote those who can be reused, and then they can return to their original units. But the Sky Fafnir world is really starting from scratch, and the people sent there basically settled down in that world. In addition to these 2 worlds, there are also the ultra-limited Hunter Cannon world and the Full Metal Panic world. The plan has not been completed yet, and people will definitely be sent there when it is completed. Humph. Of course I know. I understand, but the problem is you. You bastard. Can you come back often to help? Cardis continued to scold. Brother, I'm busy too. Yang Hui spread his hands, not making excuses or fooling around. Yang Hui is indeed very busy. He has a lot of things to do in Promise Fortress. The development of the Promise Core, the development of Promise Fortress, the exchanges between various worlds. These things are handled by someone, but the general direction still needs to be controlled by Yang Hui. You, forget it, let's not talk about it, come home with me tonight. Cardias was also angry but couldn't get angry. After all, they knew each other's situation and were both busy people. As long as Yang Hui was still alive, Cardias would be satisfied. Are you done with your work? Yang Hui asked. Humph, I don't need to ask for leave from anyone. Cardias said arrogantly. He was the highest administrative chief of a department. Who should he ask for leave from? Who could control him? Okay, by the way, I'll go back to see Albert. I don't know if the kid has lost weight. Yang Hui smiled. The Bist family was not completely without emotions. He had a good relationship with Cardias, and he was also close to Albert, the little fat boy. You can rest assured. After you left, Albert worked very hard. Cardias said, pretending to be indifferent. Wow? Then I'm looking forward to it. Yang Hui smiled happily. It seemed that the relationship between Cardias and Albert had made considerable progress. Otherwise, Cardias didn't care about Albert at all. After leaving the office, Cardias told Zhao Zhang to arrange the flight. On the way to the airport, Cardias said to Yang Hui, by the way, there is one more thing. The woman you found outside. Seeing that Cardias was hesitant to speak, Yang Hui knew what Cardias wanted to say. This was the only thing that could make him hesitate. Well, Anna is pregnant, I plan to. Your own family affairs, don't ask me. Yang Hui didn't like to interfere in other people's family affairs, even close brothers, especially with a complicated relationship like Cardias. No, this matter really needs your help. Cardias said to Yang Hui seriously. What do you mean? It's just, I'm going to take Anna back to the Bist family. Then what? It's just, well, how do you get so many brothers and sisters to get along? Yang Hui stared with dead fish eyes. This is not. I'm worried. Cardias was cautious, like a child who made a mistake. You have changed, big brother. The dead fish eyes on Yang Hui's face disappeared, replaced by a relieved look. In the past, Cardias would not care about the thoughts of his original wife and eldest son. As long as he wanted to take Anna Lynx back to the Bist family, he would not care even if they had any opinions, and he might even kick them out. But now, Cardias began to pay attention to Albert and began to care about the thoughts of his original wife. Okay, I'll talk to my sister-in-law, but they have to join the Promise Fortress. Yang Hui said. Why? Cardias asked in confusion. He himself did not join the Promise Fortress, not because he was not qualified, but he did not want to bear such a heavy responsibility. Whether he was a member of the Promise Corps or not, joining the Promise Fortress would share this responsibility, even if it was just a little bit. It is precisely because life is short that there are so many disputes. When life is extended, many contradictions will be resolved, and, you and I know what my sister-in-law thinks. Anna Lynx's children cannot inherit the Bist Consortium. Yang Hui said. Albert is very smart and can inherit the Bist Consortium, but he is not suitable for the promise caller. Inheriting the BIST consortium is the best choice. As for the other child, Anna Lynx has no ambition. Let's wait until the child grows up. I understand. Well, let's go. The plane is ready. Well, please. The plane took off and landed. Cardias and Yang Hui returned to the BIST family's manor. Say I am BIST was no longer able to get out of the ground. The second son was gone. The head of the family returned, so naturally the hostess came out with the children to greet him. Third uncle. You are back. Albert hadn't seen Yang Hui for a year, and he was very happy to see him again. Wow? Not bad. Yang Hui saw Albert's changed appearance and couldn't help but exclaimed, it seems that you have always kept my words in mind. Albert has changed a lot. The light fat is gone, and instead he has a strong body of muscles. The whole person looks much more energetic. It can be seen that he insists on exercising. Hey, thank you for the compliment, Uncle San. Albert was very happy because Yang Hui praised him, and he was very grateful to Yang Hui. The training was indeed very hard. At the beginning, Albert also cried and wanted to give up, but after persisting, he found that not only his body was strong, but also his spirit was much better. He was not as weak as before, and he was also much more handsome. Yet, Yang Hui touched Albert's head, and then looked at Cardis's original wife. Sister-in-law, can I talk to you alone? Yet, Cardis's original wife was also stunned for a moment. Yang Hui had always taken good care of Albert and the BIST family. The relationship with her was not close, but it was still good. At least she felt the family affection in this huge manner, but it was the first time to talk to her alone. Okay, no problem. Then, Albert, do you remember what I like to eat the most? Yang Hui lowered his head and asked Albert again. Remember, Uncle San likes Chinese food the most. Why don't you go and ask the kitchen to prepare it? Go. 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 If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1172 Return to the Worlds of Gundam UC, Part 2. Half an hour passed, and no one knew what Yang Hui had talked to her about alone. But when they came out, Cardis obviously found that his wife's eyes were a little red, but her breath was still calm, and her attitude towards him had not changed. Catelyn. Don't say it, Cardis. Yang Hui told me everything, you can take her over. I'm sorry. You've changed, Cardis. Hearing Cardis's personal apology, she could also feel the sincere guilt, and Catelyn also showed a beautiful smile. You never apologized to me before. Cardis wanted to say sorry, but before he could open his mouth, his wife's finger was on his lips. The Cardis I know, the Cardis I love, is not someone who likes to say sorry. Men who often say sorry are cowardly. Yet. Cardis was silent for a moment, hugged Catelyn tightly, and nodded. Yang Hui looked at this scene, with a warm smile on his face, and quietly retreated without disturbing them. When he passed a corner, he also dragged the little hug hiding and peeking away. Third uncle. The one hiding and peeking was naturally Albert. He went to the kitchen to ask the chef to prepare Chinese food, and also ordered the servants to clean Yang Hui's room. He ran back after preparing a small banquet tonight to celebrate Yang Hui's return. He was also very curious about what Yang Hui and his mother were going to talk about. As a result, he saw his mother and father hugging each other as soon as he arrived. This was the first time he saw his parents hug each other since he was a child, and it was a happy hug. Thinking of his father's attitude towards him and his mother, Albert couldn't help but burst into tears. Your father used to be a bastard, Albert, but this bastard now knows he's wrong, so, can you forgive him? Yang Hui took Albert to sit on the bench in the garden and asked, touching his head. Well, as long as mother is happy. I don't blame him. Haha, you are really a sensible child. Third uncle, where have you been this year? I asked my mother, and my mother said she didn't know, and my father didn't tell me. I went to a very far place. Very far. Yes, very far. As he said, Yang Hui looked up and pointed to the sky. Uncle San, you went to the universe. Albert asked curiously. It's the universe, but it's not the universe. I don't understand. Ha ha ha, you'll understand soon. Yang Hui laughed. He had already agreed with Katrin that they would also obtain the identity of Promise Fortress. Albert would take over the BIST consortium when he grew up. In the future, if he wanted, he could also intervene in some matters of Promise Fortress. Anna Lynx would be taken back to the BIST family and live a rich life. The child she was carrying would be cultivated by the BIST family without reservation. He would also have the identity of the Promised Legion, but would not inherit any shares of the BIST consortium. The future direction would depend on his own ideas. If he wanted to enter the BIST consortium, he would be assigned a position. What height he could reach in the end would depend on his own ability. If that child was restless and planned to do something out of the ordinary, Yang Hui promised Katrin that he would deal with it personally, regardless of whether Cardis agreed or not. Even if he didn't promise Katrin, Yang Hui would do this. After all, it was one of his families. Yang Hui was not familiar with Anna Lynx and the soon-to-be-born Banagher Lynx. He would not sit back and watch his family being threatened because of unfamiliar people. Uncle Sen, can you tell me your story? Albert was looking forward to it. He was 7 years old, almost 8 years old. He didn't have much contact with the outside world, but the servants in the manor often mentioned Yang Hui, such as Yang Hui's creation of the 12th Independent Technical Force, and the defeat of the Principality of Xi'an led by the Zabi family, and he was the strongest Miss Pilot in the Federation and the pioneer of a new era. Albert asked the servants at home, and the servants naturally knew everything, but these servants were also ordinary people, without any status, and didn't know much, just news and gossip. But this was enough for Albert to know some news. At least he knew that Yang Hui was very powerful and a hero. Children always admired heroes. My story? What do you want to hear? Yang Hui asked Albert with a smile. He had too many stories, and Albert would soon know the existence of the Prosm Fortress. Stories that did not belong to this world could naturally be told to him. Well, I want to hear the story of how Uncle San defeated the Zabi family. Okay. Yang Hui smiled and began to tell Albert the story of how he created the 12th Independent Technical Unit and the end of the war. I really have to thank Yang Hui, Cardis. Well, I know, this family would not have him. At this moment, on the terrace on the second floor, Cardis and Katrin were snuggling together, looking at Yang Hui and Albert in the garden in harmony. They only felt fortunate. If Yang Hui had not taken care of Katrin and Albert when he was occasionally at home, Katrin and Albert would have given up on the Vist family and Cardis long ago, right? If Yang Hui had not changed Cardis, Cardis would still not look at Katrin and Albert, and the three of them would not have been able to reconcile. It's just his identity. We just need him to be our brother and a member of the Bister family. That's enough. Cardis knew that Katrin was worried about Yang Hui's true identity. He was the third young master of the Bister family, but he was not. A soul that was hundreds of years old had experienced several lives again. No matter who he was, he would be worried. But Cardis knew Yang Hui very well. He was not worried at all. Everyone who was familiar with Yang Hui knew that Yang Hui was the person who valued feelings the most. Love, family affection, and friendship were Yang Hui's most precious treasures, Yang Hui's biggest weakness, and also the biggest motivation for Yang Hui to persevere. Although the Bister family was only one of Yang Hui's several families, and it was not very good, it was also a family that Yang Hui cherished. This was very clear from the fact that he took care of Katrin and Albert and called Cardis big brother. Well, I understand. Katrin was also the daughter of a top family and was very smart. When she got to this point, she understood some things. That woman. Don't worry, Anna is not that kind of person, I hope. Yang Hui told me that as long as she doesn't have any bad intentions, I will treat her well. Well, thank you, Katrin. I'll go and see. It's rare that Yang Hui has time to come back. We have to celebrate. Okay, thank you for your hard work. For the first time, the cold and deserted Bister family felt the warmth of home. It was just a small banquet for 4 people, but there were not so many etiquettes and not so many restraints. An ordinary family banquet was full of laughter and joy. The next day, Cardis took Anna Lynx to the Bister family's manor. Yang Hui, Katrin and Albert welcomed her together. At first, Anna Lynx was still very scared and worried. Although she was not a lady from a big family, she still knew a little about big families. She was worried that she would not be accepted by Cardis's original wife and his family. Then the life waiting for her would be a hell worse than death. Fortunately, Katrin had done her job. She was not hostile to Anna Lynx, but greeted her with a smile. She personally helped Anna Lynx, who was pregnant, to the prepared room, and then the two chatted alone in the room. Yang Hui and Cardis were not suitable to participate in such a conversation. The result was good. Half an hour later, Katrin and Anna Lynx returned to the living room hand in hand, which also made the worried Cardis relieved. Yang Hui laughed and shook his head. Brother, how little do you know about your sister-in-law? Katrin was an excellent daughter from a big family after all, and she really loved Cardis. She had already reconciled with Cardis and talked about the matter. Naturally, she couldn't say one thing in front of him and another behind his back. This. Cardis was embarrassed. He understood the reason, but as a man, he would naturally worry at this time. Okay, things here are handled, and I'm leaving too. Yang Hui patted Cardis on the shoulder and said goodbye to him. Leaving so soon? Can't you stay a few more days? Anna just came. Cardis tried to keep Yang Hui. On the one hand, Anna Lynx had just arrived and Yang Hui left, which might make Anna Lynx have wild thoughts. On the other hand, Cardis also hoped that Anna Lynx and Yang Hui would get to know each other better. After all, they would be a family in the future. Garp asked me to go to the federal parliament to deal with some things, and don't forget that I have other worlds to go to. Yang Hui smiled helplessly. After the meeting, Durandal, Garp, and Skneasel found Yang Hui together, with the purpose of asking him to go back to their respective worlds. Yang Hui has a very important status in these three worlds. Some things do need him to deal with, and he also needs to show up to tell some people that he is still alive, and some ideas are better kept to himself. As for the Gundam Age world, he was more than 100 years old when he left, and he had already handed over all the things in his hands, so he didn't need to show up. As for the Gundam world, his identity has never been made public, so except for the top level, no one knows what he has done. His familiar companions, friends, and family are all in Promise Fortress. It is not an emergency, so there is no need to go back. There is nothing important in other worlds, so there is no need to rush back. Cardis was stunned for a moment, smiled bitterly and shook his head. He also knew that Yang Hui had more than one family and had a huge influence in other worlds. Come home often when you have time. Yes, I'm leaving first. Please tell my sisters-in-law and Albert for me, so I won't say goodbye to them. Well, don't worry, but can you come back after the next mission? Anna's due date is in 2 months. Cardis' eyes were full of expectation. Okay. Chapter 1173 Return to the Worlds of Bunitalia. Well, the changes are quite big. Yang Hui set foot on the land of the Bunitalia Empire again. No, it should be called the Bunitalia United States now. Looking at the unfamiliar scene in front of him, Yang Hui couldn't help but sigh. The connection between Lelouch's world and Promise Fortress was quite late. It has only been less than a year, and it has completely changed. All these changes are brought about by my brother. Yuffie, Nunnally, long time no see. The news that Yang Hui was going to return to Lelouch's world was passed back to the Bunitalia United States by Skneasel in advance. Originally, Odysseus wanted to come to greet him in person, but there was no way. He was still the first Speaker of the United States Congress and was busy with affairs. He could only let Euphemia and Nunnally greet Yang Hui's return on his behalf. Long time no see, my brother. X2 now, Nunnally is no longer a blind girl sitting in a wheelchair. After treatment in the treatment chamber of Promise Fortress, her lower limbs have been healed and she can walk on the ground with her own legs. Her eyes, which were tightly closed, have also been opened with the help of CC. Nunally's blindness was not caused by injury, but Charles D. Britalia used his G's ability to tamper with Nunally's memory, making her think that she was born blind, so she kept her eyes closed. Haha, my brother, I haven't heard this title for a long time. Yang Hui smiled freely. In various worlds, his titles are similar, such as Sir, Commander, Sir, Your Excellency, Sir. The more intimate ones also have the title of Boss, but the title of my brother is unique to this world. It seems that my brother still needs to relearn his etiquette. Nunnally covered her mouth and chuckled. Cornelia and Lelouch are the only members of the Bunitalian royal family who are stationed in Promise Fortress. Even Skneasel only goes to Promise Fortress when he needs to hold a general meeting after the midterm completion of the mission. After all, he is now the Speaker of the Earth Federation Parliament of Lelouch's world. Cornelia and Yang Hui have a special relationship, and Cornelia is Yang Hui's sister, so it is naturally impossible for her to call him brother. As for the remaining Lelouch, He has never called Yang Hui brother since he was a child, which is not in line with royal etiquette. However, the empire is no longer there, and the so-called royal etiquette is just a joke that Nunli teases her brother. Brother, didn't Lelouch come back with you? Euphemia didn't see Lelouch's figure and felt a little disappointed. He is busy. Yang Hui shook his head. Lelouch didn't want to come back, he was really busy. He is now Rebel's chief of staff, and Rebel is the commander-in-chief of the fleet in a large-scale legion battle. Lelouch has too many things to do, not only various documents, but also the training of the fleet that he needs to worry about. You can also go to the fortress to see him. Although I can't come back, it's still okay for me to take some time to accompany you to the fortress. Yang Hui said to Euphemia. Forget it, Lelouch is so busy, I won't bother him. Although Euphemia was a little disappointed, she was sensible and would not bother Lelouch for personal matters, and… Euphy, how about, you also go on a mission? Yang Hui looked at Euphemia, who was still a little girl, and thought of Lelouch who grew up in the mission world. There was always a sense of disobedience, or anger. That is, Lelouch, who originally only needed to go to Germany for orthopedic treatment, became a pervert who needed to be sentenced to death. Eh? Me? No, no. Euphemia was stunned for a moment and quickly refused. She didn't know anything, couldn't help at all, and would hold everyone back. You don't need to do anything. I'll just take you on a relatively safe mission, just like traveling. Brother, why do you want me to go? Euphemia also knows Yang Hui better. The suggestions he makes are usually meaningful and for the good of everyone. It's just, Lelouch is now grown up. Huh? You all know that for each mission, including the rest time in between, the fortress and the connected world will spend a fixed 2 months, but many years have passed in the mission world, so… As he said that, Yang Hui stretched out his hand, measured at his height, and then measured at the top of Euphemia's head. Euphemia was stunned for a moment, and the next second she was about to cry, her little face puffed up like a bun. Brother. Woo. Wait. No, I was just kidding, don't cry. Okay. Yang Hui. You haven't come back for so long, and you make Euphy cry when you come back. At this time, a voice of condemnation came from behind Yang Hui. Turning around, the boat had just docked at the shore, and Clovis rushed down, splashing dust behind him. Clovis? Why are you here too? What do you mean I'm here too? I heard you were back, so I came all the way back from Europe to give you face. And… You bastard. You made Euphy cry as soon as you came back, what do you want to do? Is this family still here? Clovis ran to Yang Hui, grabbed his collar and cursed. Listen to my excuses, no explanations. Why listen to my excuses? Go to hell, Although the empire has become a republic, the former palace of the Bunitalian royal family is still there. As a landmark building of Bunitalia, it is also where the royal family lives. On the way to the palace, Clovis looked at Yang Hui with resentment. Euphemia and Natalie covered their mouths and laughed softly, while Yang Hui rolled his eyes wildly. I say, can you be reasonable? You started it first, and you blame me. Yang Hui said to Clovis. Who told you to be so cruel? Are you still brothers? Clovis rubbed his aching shoulder and cursed. It was you who broke the rules first. Just fight, why draw the sword? Yang Hui questioned Clovis. Just now, this guy was so angry that he pulled out his sword. Yang Hui subconsciously took off his shoulder, although he put it back on. Nonsense. Who told you to make Euphy cry? Hey. What are you laughing at? Sit down obediently. Yang Hui glared at Euphemia, who was watching the fun and laughing. This girl, I don't know where she learned to be so vicious. I guess she acted out of play when she saw Clovis coming. Oh, my brother is so fierce. Euphemia stopped smiling and sat down obediently, muttering with resentment. Don't let me know who you learned this from, otherwise. Yang Hui was also very troubled. Euphemia was originally very well behaved, and she was not like this at all. Even if she liked acting, she would never act in front of Yang Hui and others, so, someone must have taught her bad things. It's sister-in-law Lakis. Huh. Yang Hui was stunned. He had never expected that the answer was impossible. It's sister-in-law Lakis. Euphemia said confidently. When? It's no wonder that Yang Hui didn't think of Lakis, because after Lelouch's world was connected to Promise Fortress, most of the missions were in the core battle mode, and Lakis always went with them. Even in the revolutionary machine world, Lakis went with the team. Even during rest time, Lakis was very busy. Not only did she have to travel back and forth between the Gundam Seed World and Promise Fortress, but there were also many things to do in the fortress. She had no time to come to Lelouch's world. In addition, Euphemia didn't. You joined Promise Fortress. Euphemia smiled slyly, telling Yang Hui that his answer was correct. Euphemia and Nunnally knew about the existence of Promise Fortress, but they had never joined. After all, they were too young, and they couldn't help, so they didn't join Promise Fortress. Who knew? Euphemia actually joined secretly. When did it happen? 2 months ago, I asked my royal brother Skneasel to do it. Yang Hui was speechless. Skneasel's personality had changed. He was still meticulous in his official duties and worked hard to meet everyone's expectations, but privately, he cared a lot about his family, especially doting on his younger brothers and sisters. He couldn't stop Euphemia from being spoiled by him. In addition, Euphemia was still young, so even if she joined Promise Fortress, she would not be allowed to go on missions with her. Euphemia was also sensible and would not mess around in Promise Fortress, so he agreed to let her join. It's nothing, but who can't she learn from? Why did she have to learn from that fairy Lakis? Moreover, Cornelia couldn't have been unaware of the fact that Euphemia joined Promise Fortress. If one person knew about it, all her sisters would definitely know about it, but she didn't know about it. Alice, the position of the younger brother in the family. By the way, when can I go too? I've been waiting for a long time. Clovis asked Yang Hui. If Yang Hui and Cornelia hadn't left with their people, he wouldn't have to stay in this world. He and his knights were very eager to adventure in other worlds. Can you leave now? Yang Hui glanced at Clovis and asked. Of course. Lee Zink is fully capable of taking my place, and he has a good character and won't mess around. Clovis replied. Lee Zink. To be honest, Yang Hui felt that Lee Zink was more suitable than Clovis to go to Promise Fortress. Lee Zink's strength and potential were both above Clovis. What? Is there something wrong with him? Clovis frowned when he saw Yang Hui thinking. He and Lee Zink had worked together for more than half a year and recognized Lee Zink very much. Whether it was strength or character, his personality was a bit old-fashioned, but everything else was good, and he didn't find any problems. No, he's fine. Yang Hui shook his head. I just think he seems to be more suitable for Promise Fortress than you. The car fell into silence for a while. Clovis stared at Yang Hui, and the flames of anger burned more and more. Yang Hui. Go to hell. Chapter 1174 Return to the Worlds of Bunatelia, Part 2. At the main gate of the palace, Odysseus and Guinevere were already waiting here. Yang Hui, Cornelia and Lelouch hadn't been back for a long time. Although only Yang Hui came back this time, they were also very happy. I don't know what Skneasel said to Yang Hui to make him come back to see me. Guinevere said to Odysseus beside her. They all knew Yang Hui. He seemed to be a lazy fish on the surface, but secretly he was more enthusiastic than anyone else. Even if everyone shared his work, he would find something to do by himself, and at the very least he would train himself. Haha, Skneasel alone is not enough. Don't forget General Garp and Lord Durandal. Maybe there are things in other worlds, and Skneasel just took a ride. Odysseus laughed. Haha, this is really possible, but this Yang Hui, doesn't he know to come home to see me? Guinevere complained dissatisfiedly. Don't you know him? He is unwilling to stop for a moment. The last war in this war. As they said, the mood of the two couldn't help but drop a point. The Legion battle in the Macros F world was fought after the connection with Lelouch's world, so some people in Lelouch's world also participated in that war. As newcomers, they faced the most brutal war since the establishment of the Promise Corps in their first battle, and suffered heavy losses. Fortunately, Lelouch's world was initially established, and not many people went to the Promise Fortress, and the proportion in the Promise Corps was not that high. But, the tragic loss of 1/3, even though they were not from their own world, they felt inexplicably heartbroken. There was also the war in the Fafnir world of the sky, where they saw the true face of the Temple of Slaughter for the first time. If it weren't for the huge price paid by Yang Hui and other aces, how could there be only such a small loss? In their eyes, although they also gained powerful power, Yang Hui and others injected the Festum factor, and were no longer completely human, which was a huge price, and the gains and losses were not equal. They didn't see the cruelty of the two wars with their own eyes, but the video records made them feel the same, especially when the breath of the Snake King swallowed up 1/3 of the fleet. At that scene, anyone who cared about the Promise Fortress and the Promise Legion almost fainted. I understand, brother. Guinevere sighed. Of course she understood, but she couldn't help. All she could do was to help Odysseus stabilize the rear of Lelouch's world and protect this home. They're here. Let's go, Guinevere, pick them up, HM. The two saw that the car that Yang Hui and others were riding in had already entered the palace, so they walked down the steps to greet them. Who knew that halfway through, when they saw Yang Hui and others open the door and get out of the car, they were stunned and their mouths twitched. It wasn't about Yang Hui, nor about Euphemia and Nunnally, but about Clovis. Clovis at this time had a pair of panda eyes. Long time no see, brother and sister. Although there are many intrigues in the world of Lelouch, Odysseus and Guinevere have always been in the same faction as Yang Hui on the surface, but privately, Yang Hui understands that both Odysseus and Guinevere have helped him in their own way, and this place is also his home. Glad to be back. Odysseus stepped forward and patted Yang Hui on the shoulder. He was only the Speaker of the United States of Bunitalia, and he felt that one day was not enough. Yang Hui was the commander of the Promise Fortress, and it could only be harder. Those high-sounding words were not as real as these 4 words. Yang Hui nodded to the two, and then followed them into the palace. Let's live in the original bedroom today. We have someone to keep it clean. That's good. I will stay in this world for 1 day and leave tomorrow. I'm worried about having no place to live. Yang Hui still felt warm in his heart. If it was just to maintain the relationship between the two to gain benefits, Yang Hui could hear the little thoughts in it, and Odysseus' tone and attitude were very sincere, which showed that they did not do this for benefits, but for a family affection. Ho ha ho ha. Seeing Yang Hui say this, everyone laughed happily. Euphemia, Nunnally and Clovis have always believed in Yang Hui. Odysseus and Guinevere are still a little worried that Yang Hui has changed, but from his answer, it can be seen that he has not changed, and he is still the same Yang Hui. At night, Odysseus and Guinevere knew that Yang Hui was back, and they also completed all the work for today in advance. They also took a day off tomorrow. Even Sknizel returned from the fortress and held a large family dinner in the palace at night. This was also unavoidable. After all, the scale of the Bist family is not comparable to that of the Bist family. In this regard, Charles di Bunitalia is worthy of being an emperor. He can give birth. Of course, not all brothers and sisters have a good relationship with Yang Hui. Those who rank above Yang Hui, except Cornelia who was not present, have a good relationship with Yang Hui. Those who rank below Yang Hui, except for Lelouch who did not come back, there are only Euphemia and Nunnally. The others. I took care of them when they were young, but for various reasons, they became distant and returned to the level of just knowing each other. The dinner did not last long. The brothers and sisters who were not familiar with Yang Hui left one by one. Those who stayed were all familiar people. There were not a few people, but they did not break through the double digits. There was no need to occupy such a large palace. It was too empty. Yang Hui, although I have heard from Sknizel and read the information, I still want to hear you say it in person. How is Lelouch's growth? The group moved to the lounge, and Odysseus asked Yang Hui. That kid really brings honor to the Bunitalia family. Yang Hui said proudly, Rebuilt has very high standards. Even though Cheyenne was brought up by Rebuilt, Rebuilt has never acknowledged Cheyenne as his student. Currently, only Lelouch has been acknowledged as his student. Oh. Keep going. And that kid is really smart. With his current abilities, it is no problem for him to lead a fleet alone. Rebuilt also said that he can go out on a mission, but he is smart and stayed with Rebuilt and served as his combat staff officer. Now he is the chief of staff. Lelouch, he must be very hard-working, right? Euphemia asked worriedly. Yeah, that's true. Yang Hui nodded as if it was a matter of fact, which scared Euphemia, but then she realized that Yang Hui was teasing her. When he just went to work under Rebel, the old scoundrel Rebel arranged for him to practice with Dazzle. You must have heard of Dazzle, the gorilla, and his style, right? Yeah, I've heard of it. He's brave in combat, always leading by example, and takes every battle very seriously, even if it's a simulation training. Odysseus nodded. Although he didn't go to Promise Fortress often, he would still make time to go there in order to have more contact with the top brass of Promise Fortress. Although there would be no intrigue between them, there were still distance and closeness. Yet, so, Lelouch was tortured to death by Dazzle at the beginning, and he didn't feel like participating in the game at all. That expression. Tisk tisk, it's funny to think about it. Ha ha ha. XN but Lelouch is determined and has made it through the hardships at the beginning, and has grown up little by little to where he is now. Hearing this, everyone had a proud expression on their faces. After all, he is their younger brother or older brother, and they must be happy to be so outstanding. Royal brother, you are teasing me again. Euphemia gave Yang Hui a pink fist with a coquettish look. Who asked you to play me? Humph. Ha ha ha. Lelouch is really ahead of me by so much? No. Yang Hui, I must go this time. Clovis put his arm around Yang Hui's shoulders and asked. Originally, he was ahead of Lelouch, but now Lelouch is the chief of staff under the legendary General Rebel, and he is still in the same world. It's too embarrassing. You, Clovis, this is not a trip. Sneasel laughed and shook his head. He knew how capable his brother was. Clovis's ability was definitely at the bottom of the Promised Legion. Of course I know. Clovis said seriously, I have carefully studied the video records of the first two wars. I know that with my ability, I am only at the bottom and may even drag everyone down, but this is not an excuse to be afraid. Who didn't start from the bottom? Who didn't grow up step by step? But it's too dangerous. Guinevere was also persuading Clovis. Exploring the unknown is always accompanied by danger, but so what? This honor is worth my risk. Besides, isn't Yang Hui taking a risk now? He dares, why can't I? To be honest, I've had enough of the dull life now. Instead of sinking in comfort, I would rather set foot in the exploration of the unknown, even if I die halfway. Have you really decided? Yang Hui looked at Clovis seriously. Of course. After confirming Clovis's determination, Yang Hui nodded and looked at Sneasel. I understand. Sneasel understood. Since Clovis had made up his mind, as a brother, he had no right to stop him. Royal brother Clovis. Euphemia and Nunnally also looked at Clovis with worry. Don't worry, Euphy, Nunnally, this is my honor. You should be happy for me. Clovis laughed heartily. Well, we get it, royal brother Clovis. Yang Hui looked at the three of them. Clovis didn't notice, but including him, Odysseus, Sneasel and Guinevere all noticed it. A certain determination flashed in the eyes of Euphemia and Nunnally. Chapter 1175 Return to the Worlds of Bunitalia, Part 3. At night, Guinevere took Euphemia and Nunnally to bed, and then it was time for men. Okay, tell me, is there anything I need to deal with? Yang Hui asked Sneasel. At that time, Sneasel did not explain clearly, but only said that there was something he needed to come back to deal with personally. The first thing is that I asked you to come back and show up. The existence of Promise Fortress is still only known to the top leaders, but some people below have not seen you for a long time, and they have some crooked thoughts. Sneasel said. Can't you handle this kind of thing? Yang Hui looked a little surprised. If Yang Hui had the highest status, it must be the Gundam Seed World, and the Gundam Seed World was connected to Promise Fortress earlier than Lelouch's world. Yang Hui had never been back and disappeared for a longer time. Some people must have started to get restless. But these trivial matters were handled by Durandal in advance. Why did Sneasel need to deal with it personally? It involves the people you promoted yourself, as well as the families of the Legion. I can't move. Sneasel said. The people I promoted myself? And the families of the legionaries? Yang Hui was stunned. Logically, all the people he promoted himself should be brought to Promise Fortress, and the families of the legionaries, there are a lot of them. The families original belonging to Bunitaria should not be a problem, so. People from District 11. Yang Hui thought about it. The families of the legionaries could only be those in District 11, and those who made Sneasel feel uncomfortable should be in high positions, so. Fujito Kagemashiro, Kuruji Suzaku, Benazuki Naoto, the Four Holy Swords, there are only these people. Yes. As expected, Sneasel nodded. Let me guess. Kuruji Genbu. Fujito Kagemashiro's wife and children are in Bunitaria, and his son Zayazi is still an apprentice knight of Euphemia, and he has changed his appearance, so he won't find them. Most of the Four Holy Swords have no family members, and those who have families have also moved to Bunitaria. Kazuki Naoto's mother is in the Duke's mansion, and she is just an ordinary person, so it's useless to find her. Excluding all the impossible, the only one left is Kuruji Suzaku's father, the former Neon Prime Minister Kuruji Genbu. There's one more person missing. Sneasel said. One more person missing. Got him early. Her? Hearing this, Yang Hui was stunned for a moment. He really forgot about this person. In order to appease the emotions of the civilians, Yang Hui promoted her to the governor of District 11, and then didn't care about her much? It was enough to know that she completed the tasks he gave her. Based on my understanding of her, she shouldn't have so many ambitions. Kyoruji Genbu has also been defeated by me and has no intention of making a comeback. Yang Hui said. Your assessment is accurate. They really don't have any ideas, but they can't stop others from having ideas. Sknizel said. Others? Yes, some conservatives, seeing that you haven't appeared in a long time, not only you, but your Nightmare Knights, Cornelia and her Rose Witch Knights, haven't appeared in people's sight for a long time. They got bolder, and they found the God Emperor Lee and Kyoruji Genbu, asking them to stand up and take charge of the situation and restore the independence of District 11. Independence? Haha, what independence? Independence from the Earth Federation. Yang Hui laughed coldly. That's not the case, it's just... Sknizel shrugged his shoulders halfway through his speech. They still have a big prejudice against the name of District 11. When the Earth Federation was established, the occupied areas of Bunitaria were not returned to the original authorities, and they were still called by numbers. The Federation Parliament had proposed a corresponding reform plan. After all, the Bunitaria Empire had transformed into the United States of Bunitaria. In the environment of peace, harmony, and stability, calling a region and its people by numbers was indeed insulting, so the Federation Parliament had already thought of reform. Of course, it was impossible to return the occupied areas intact. This was the land that Bunitaria had spent so much manpower and material resources to conquer, and the subsequent governance also took a lot of energy. How could it be possible to return it in one sentence? The preliminary charter would return the original names, such as District 11, and they would no longer be called by numbers. Neon would be returned to them, but not as an independent country, but as a special zone under the jurisdiction of the United States of Bunitaria, still a part of Bunitaria. To be honest, most people in District 11 no longer feel repulsive to this title. Yang Hui is not clear about the situation in other digital districts, but when he governed District 11, he spent a lot of energy to ease the conflicts and contradictions between the people of District 11 and the people of Bunitalia, and brought a better life to the people of District 11, and achieved equality as much as possible, so that they no longer reject numbers and no longer hate Bunitalia. So the people in District 11 don't care about the title at all. What they care about is whether the current stable life can be maintained. So? Yang Hui asked, and Sknizel didn't finish. God Emperor Lee and Kyoruji Genbu didn't agree. They knew a little bit of the inside story, but that group of conservatives, their hands are not clean. Sknizel smiled calmly. Although the two did not participate, the conservatives did a lot of things in their name. Now the people in District 11 don't have a good evaluation of them. Kyoruji Genbu is still okay, he retired a long time ago, but God Emperor Lee is still the governor of District 11. Sknizel continued to add. This. Yang Hui's expression was a little strange. It was not that he felt that this matter was a little complicated, but, that's it? Such a small matter. Sknizel didn't know how to deal with it. Don't you know how to deal with this situation? Draw out the snake, catch it all in one fell swoop, and control public opinion. Sknizel said his thoughts without any hesitation or slowness. Then why did you call me back for this matter? Without an excuse, will you go home to see? Sknizel asked Yang Hui confidently. Yang Hui was stunned for a moment, and saw that the corners of Odysseus and Sknizel's mouths were curled up with sinister smiles of success. And then he understood. What matters need him to deal with personally. These are all excuses, they just want Yang Hui to go home to see. Of course, it is also true that they hope Yang Hui will show up. After all, Yang Hui's deterrent power is very large. You bastard, you have been outside for a long time, you should also go home often. Clovis lightly hit Yang Hui with a punch and scolded with a smile. So, you are also involved? Yang Hui asked Clovis with a smile. No, but it doesn't stop me from criticizing you. Well, I have too many homes, sometimes I don't know which one to go back to, ha ha ha. Just don't forget this. X and the three of them said to Yang Hui at the same time. They knew it was all a joke. Yang Hui was a sentimental person. As long as he recognized it as home, he would never forget it. But he was really too busy and it was difficult for him to find a chance to come back. Even if he came back, it was just a visit. For example, this time, He came back today and left tomorrow. By the way, Sneasel, where are the God Emperor Li and Kyorugi Genbu? Yang Hui asked Sneasel. The Divine Emperor Li is in Area 11. Now is the time when she is in a state of panic. Kyorugi Genbu originally returned to Area 11 to retire, but under the pressure of the conservatives, he fled back to Bunitaria for refuge. He is now in Bunitaria. Well, let them come to see me tomorrow. It's been so long, and they should meet each other. There are also Duke Schutenfeld, Fujito's wife and children, and Naoto Kazuki's mother. After all, their families are all under my command. What about the others? No need. Except for the people named, the others have no great relationship with their families. For example, Gino Bienerberg was a marginal figure in the family at the beginning. Even though he became famous later, the family asked him to go back but he didn't go back. For example, Joan Luo and Vireta knew, they are their own families. Originally, their ideal was to establish a noble family by themselves, but when they became successful, they went to Promise Fortress and didn't have this opportunity. Then I'll send someone to notify them now. Tomorrow, don't you see what time it is? Yang Hui slapped Sneasel in annoyance. Regardless of whether these people are asleep or not, you are going to notify them at this time. Don't you want them to sleep? Okay. By the way, Yang Hui, do you think, should I take the Star Knights with me? Clovis asked Yang Hui. It's fine if you can go through the back door yourself, but you also want to take a night group with you? What are you thinking? Go through the procedures and take the assessment. Yang Hui rolled his eyes in annoyance. Clovis is his brother. If he doesn't have the ability to meet the standards, it's okay to take the back door by relying on this relationship, but it's absolutely impossible to take the entire night group through the back door. This is not only a violation of the rules, but also irresponsible to the Star Knights. After all, people with insufficient ability will die if they follow them. Okay, I understand. After I leave tomorrow, you should also report to Promise Fortress. You are already far behind. If you don't want to die early, you should catch up quickly. Yang Hui said with a sidelong glance at Clovis, teasing and reminding. You will die early. I know what to do. That's fine. It seems that all the business is over. Odysseus maintained a gentle and calm smile, took 4 cups and several bottles of wine from the wine cabinet beside him and put them on the table. Can we start the second half? This small cup, where is the mouthwash? Change it to a bucket. If you need a bucket, go find it yourself. X3 Hohathoha. The next day, Yang Hui was waiting in the bedroom. After Sneasel notified, Kurumi Zhuanwu, Shen Huangli and others arrived one after another. Yang Hui first assured Shen Huangli and Kurumi Zhuanwu that this matter would not affect them, and then told Kurumi Zhuanwu and others about the situation of their families, so that they could rest assured, and also agreed to give them time to take a vacation and go home to visit their families. Then, Yang Hui showed up in public to support Sneasel, and then left Lelouch's world. The next stop was said to be a bit troublesome, and Yang Hui really needed to handle it personally. Forget it, I'll talk about it after I get there, but I hope that naughty kid is really like what Lakis and the others said. Chapter 1176 Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, Part 1. Finally I've waited for you. I thought you wouldn't come. Seeing Yang Hui coming out of the portal, Durandal was relieved. Yang Hui promised him verbally, but after not seeing him for a few days, Durandal really thought that Yang Hui had forgotten about it and returned to Promise Fortress. How untrustworthy am I to you? Yang Hui rolled his eyes. He has always valued promises, right? As long as he promised something, when has he not fulfilled it? Haha, I'm worried because I know you. Durandal didn't doubt Yang Hui's credit, but thought of Yang Hui's sense of responsibility. If someone found him on the way back to the fortress, he might really be busy with other things. Okay, tell me, what kind of trouble is it that you can't handle? While asking Durandal, he and Durandal left the area where the portal was. Lord Yang Hui. Sir Yang Hui. You're back. Lord Yang Hui. Along the way, the staff at the Federation headquarters were very surprised to see Yang Hui, because they hadn't seen Yang Hui for more than a year. The senior executives were fine, knowing the existence of the Prosmi Fortress, but the ordinary staff didn't know, and they thought Yang Hui was missing. Yang Hui also greeted them one by one. It seemed that after more than a year of absence, his reputation and status had not declined much. Do you still remember the country of Fenderson? When he came to Durandal's office, Durandal asked Yang Hui. the small country in Europe. Yes. Is this considered? The wolf cub has been raised and started to roll his eyes. Yang Hui had some impression of this country. Before the Earth Federation was established, Durandal reached a cooperation with Yang Hui, but they were not really of the same mind at that time. In addition to the content of the cooperation, Durandal could not do nothing but support a small country and make it independent from the Eurasian Federation, as a nail stuck in the Eurasian Federation. At that time, Durandal's support for Fenderson was very strong. He gave money, materials, and technology to him, almost raising him as his own son. Of course, this is not the reason why Yang Hui remembers this country. The real reason why Yang Hui always remembers this small country is the little queen of this country, Ola Mahahebel. She is called a little queen because she looks like a child. It is definitely not normal for a girl of a few years old to become the queen of a country, not a puppet, but the kind of a queen who holds the power of the entire country in her hands. In fact, Ola Mahahebel is an adult, and her actual age is almost 50. She used to be Durandal's partner and one of the important participants in the Destiny Plan. But Durandal reached a cooperation with Yang Hui. After learning about the existence of the Promise Fortress, he gave up the Destiny Plan, and had serious disagreements with Ola Mahahebel. At the beginning, Durandal formulated the Destiny Plan, with the idea of changing the world, but Ola Mahahebel did not have such a noble ideal. She just wanted to prove that she was more powerful than Yurlian Hibiki, Kira's biological father. Durandal gave up the Destiny Plan, and Ola Mahahebel naturally had no platform to prove herself, so she parted ways with Durandal and left with some research materials. When she learned of her existence again, she had turned into a child and became the Queen of Fenderson. Durandal later contacted Ola Mahahebel and invited her to join the Promise Fortress. On the one hand, the technology of the Promise Fortress could help her restore her original body. On the other hand, Ola Mahahebel's ability in the field of genetic technology was indeed very strong and could become Durandal's right-hand man. However, because of the disagreement in the past, Ola Mahahebel has never accepted Durandal's words, and has been devoted to developing Fenderson. He has also made some achievements with the research materials in his hands. Durandal has also seen those achievements, which are indeed very good, but Ola Mahahebel's ideas have been somewhat distorted, and so are her achievements. And the reason why Durandal asked Yang Hui to come back is because of Fenderson. Recently, Fenderson got intelligence from somewhere and spoke at the federal parliament. The originally eliminated Blue Cosmos organization has reappeared and caused terrorist attacks all over the world. He applied to send troops to eliminate the remnants of Blue Cosmos and sweep them into the garbage dump of history. Originally, there was no problem with such a proposal. Blue Cosmos has long been a rat crossing the street, and everyone shouted to beat it. As long as it appeared, the Earth Federation would immediately send troops to suppress and eliminate it. But there was one point in this proposal that the federal parliament could not accept anyway, that is, Fenderson proposed that they found the base camp of the remnants of Blue Cosmos, and in order to avoid more sacrifices, they directly used nuclear bombs to destroy it. How many years have passed since the war in CE 71? The huge damage caused by nuclear weapons has not been erased from everyone's memory. Nuclear weapons are still a pain point that no one wants to mention. So when Fenderson brought it up, the whole venue immediately turned on the red light and did not allow it to pass. Then, Fenderson would not give up. On the one hand, the parliamentary representatives continued to raise their demands at the meeting, and on the other hand, they sent their own troops to vigorously attack the remnants of Blue Cosmos and prevent terrorist attacks, trying to use actions to gain more voices to support them. If that's all, just continue to hide. As long as nuclear weapons are not used, it's a good thing for Fenderson to actively attack the remnants of Blue Cosmos. But, after Durandal sent people to contact them without success, he privately sent people to investigate. Based on his understanding of this old friend, her idea could not be so simple, and she must have a deeper purpose. As expected, some incredible things were found, such as the so-called Blue Cosmos remnants were not the real Blue Cosmos remnants. No, it shouldn't be said that way. To be more specific, they are the remnants of Blue Cosmos. The people below are indeed the lower-level members of Blue Cosmos. When Yang Hui led people to completely eliminate logos and expose the true face of Blue Cosmos, they did eliminate the Blue Cosmos religious organization, but many people were forced to withdraw due to the public opinion at the time, and the die-hard high-level people were basically cleared out, but the paranoid beliefs in their hearts did not disappear. Now, a group of people have stood up again, claiming that they were so-and-so from Blue Cosmos, and they want to re-establish Blue Cosmos and continue the great cause of Blue Sky. They also showed their armed forces. These lower-level members who had not completely given up naturally gathered together, and only then did the current Blue Cosmos remnants come into being. And these people who claim to be high-level people, after Dillender's investigation, have a close relationship with Fenderson, either supporting, threatening, or even Fenderson's people. Dillender also found out that Omaha Landville got several high-yield nuclear bombs from somewhere. For this reason, Dillender sent excellent agents into Fenderson, trying to steal these nuclear bombs in advance, so that Omaha would have no bargaining chips and could sit down and talk. As a result, all failed. Without exception, all the agents sent lost contact. Dillender had no choice but to ask Yang Hui to come back and deal with this matter. So, what does she want to do? Yang Hui asked curiously. What is the purpose of Omaha doing so many things? If he can't determine the other party's purpose, then he doesn't know how to deal with this matter. Actually, her idea is not difficult to guess. She is just too competitive. Dillender smiled bitterly. He thought he knew this old friend a little bit. So? She still wants to beat Yulian Xiang. Yang Hui raised his eyebrows. It should be, not only you, but also you. What the hell? Yang Hui had a look of astonishment. He had no contact with Omaha at all, and he and she were not in the same circle. How could he be involved? Ahem, it should be because you made me give up the destiny plan. She attached great importance to the destiny plan at the beginning, and then we had a quarrel. Wait? That was also a quarrel with you. What does it have to do with me? Because I gave up the destiny plan, because of you. What is this all about? Yang Hui covered his face speechlessly. He was drunk that this TM could even involve himself. So? What do you want to do? Let me bring Kira to challenge her? Let her completely give up. No, she is already paranoid now, and doing this will only make her completely crazy. Dillender shook his head. Omaha really wanted to win and wanted to go crazy. If he hid her again in this direct way, there would be no way to save her. His little brother, research assistant would be gone. What's your plan? Yang Hui raised his eyebrows and asked Durandal. He always felt that this fox's idea was not that simple. The news of your return should have spread. If she knew, she would definitely invite you to Fenderson. At that time. Reject. Shut up. Don't interrupt me. Oh, okay. At that time, you will lead the team to Fenderson in the name of investigation, and then, use your persuasion to convince her. Hearing this, Yang Hui stared with dead fish eyes. He thought Durandal had made some careful plan that required his cooperation, but, that's it? Do you have any misunderstanding about me? When did I know how to persuasion? Yang Hui questioned Durandal speechlessly. Can't you? Can I? Then how did you become the #1 mouth in Promise Fortress? Invincible in the fortress. Get out. Hurry up. If you have any plan, take it out. I don't have so much free time to play around with you here. Chapter 1177, Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, Part 2. So, your idea is to let me take people to Fenderson, find out where the nuclear bombs she hid, and then assimilate them? Yang Hui asked Durandal expressionlessly. Yes, your identity will not arouse any suspicion, and you entered through formal channels, they dare not touch you, and your ability to find out where the nuclear bombs are hidden and make them disappear without anyone noticing is not difficult. As long as these nuclear bombs are gone, I will have bargaining chips with her. Durandal nodded seriously. I say, are you stupid from doing research? Is this your plan? Where is that old fox? Yang Hui questioned Durandal with dissatisfaction. This kind of shitty thing was actually a plan that Durandal came up with? It feels like the old coin of Promise Fortress has been lowered by him. I don't want to expand this matter either. After all, I think she can be won over. Durandal said to Yang Hui. You still want to win her over after all this? Yang Hui rolled his eyes. This is obviously extreme to the point of madness, right? Well, there are such lunatics in the fortress. For example, Cruz is a typical lunatic, definitely worse than Omaha, and finally joined the Promise Fortress. But, there is still a huge gap in the situation. After all, The source of all Cruz's madness is the hatred extended from his dying life. As long as he can continue to live, this hatred will naturally disappear. What's the situation with Arakuma Lanbal? Want to win. Want to win Yulian Xiong and Yang Hui. How to win? Yulian Xiong is easy to say, doesn't he just want to defeat Kira with his own achievements? Want to win Yang Hui? How to win? Persuade Dillinger to start the Destiny Plan, again? To prove that Yang Hui is wrong? Or let someone fight with Yang Hui and kill him? Or overthrow the current Earth Federation government, and she will dominate the world? Wait, you said, she attaches great importance to the Destiny Plan, right? Yang Hui thought of something and asked Dillinger. Yes. Then you say. Is there a possibility that she is executing the Destiny Plan? You mean she is promoting the Destiny Plan? Prepare nuclear bombs, secretly support Blue Cosmos, and then eliminate the threats to the world, expand Fenderson's influence, gradually climb up, and then stand at the top of the world and start to promote the Destiny Plan. How likely do you think it is? Well, very likely. Durandal also felt that he was confused by the authorities. Only then did he figure out the real goal of Arakuma Lanbal. Although it was not 100% certain, it was very likely. Then the next step is simple. Contact Cruz, send a few magic and voice over, find evidence, and then arrest directly. Yang Hui spread his hands. Fenderson is just a small country. Even if it has nuclear bombs, it is just a small trouble that can be easily solved for Promise Fortress. No, the path of the magic envoy is not feasible. Besides, her research results in the past few years are still quite good. As he said this, Durandal passed a piece of information to Yang Hui. Yang Hui took out his pad and looked at it, with an arc of interest on his lips. It is indeed something. The tuner, a new human being who surpasses the adjuster, has a strong mental wave, can read minds and even hypnotize the mind. Yes, the replacement of the magic envoy is indeed seamless, but it is easy to be discovered in front of the mind reading, so this path is not feasible. In addition, in order to prevent her from jumping off the wall, this matter requires the assistance of the fortress. Durandal said seriously, even if there is no nuclear bomb, the Black Knight developed by Fenderson is still an excellent body. The current environment is stable development and common development, so they also have technologies such as the pseudo-solar furnace, the psycho-sensing frame, and the GN Super Dragoon. The ace elites of this world have basically been taken to the fortress. At present, the Black Knight team is the strongest team in this world. I understand. I will have someone send Erstrelin, Creation, over. Just Kira and Aslan. The three of us are more than enough. Yang Hui said this because he was overestimating Fenderson. Technologies such as the pseudo-solar furnace and the psycho-sensing frame were not obsolete, but they were also fully mass-produced technologies. They were not precious at all in the Promise Fortress, and they were not considered advanced technologies, so they were distributed to various worlds to enrich the world's power. With these technologies, they were only used to show off their power in the local world. In front of the Awakened, Dawn series, let alone 3 machines, one machine could destroy the entire country. Yang Hui, Kira, and Aslan attacked at the same time, which was a great honor for Fenderson. In this case, not enough? What else do you want? Will the Promise come with all its members? Ahem, not that bad. Durandal waved his hands repeatedly. It really wasn't that bad. The Promise came with all its trump cards. Those who didn't know would think it was going to destroy the Earth. Then why are you still hesitating? I'm just thinking, how can you 3 make a suitable plan? Kira, Aslan, and I are all here. Why are you still making a stupid plan? Just go for it. Nuclear bomb? I can't even make it explode. Okay. Durandal sighed. With absolute power in his hands, it would be a waste of effort to make so many complicated plans. But you should be steady. The world has only been at peace for a short time. Don't worry, I know what to do. With that, Yang Hui stood up and prepared to leave. Where are you going? Durandal asked. Of course I'm going back to Orb. After all, it's the country I built with my own hands. I have to go and see it when I get back. Oh, yes, Orb. Speaking of Orb, Durandal thought of the naughty kid who had given Yang Hui a headache, and a sinister smile appeared on his lips. You really should go back and see it. Princess Kigali is very hard-working. Huh? Yang Hui was stunned for a moment. Durandal's words were the same as Lux's. Even if Yang Hui didn't believe Durandal, he believed Lux's, but why did he feel that Durandal had bad intentions? You'll know when you go back and see it. I guarantee you'll be surprised. It seems that I have to be mentally prepared and not be pissed off by that naughty kid. No matter what Durandal is hiding, and what the real situation of Kigali is, he has to be mentally prepared anyway, just hoping that naughty kid won't destroy the orb he built with so much effort. Durandal arranged the flight for Yang Hui, and he did not plan to accompany Yang Hui to orb. In addition to the matter of Fenderson, there were many other things to deal with. Since Yang Hui had already accepted this commission, Durandal could also return most of his energy to his regular work. Nice to meet you, Mr. Yang Hui. Can I take up a few minutes of your time? Just as Yang Hui was on his way to the airport, a blond man in a black uniform and a white cloak came over and took the initiative to bow to Yang Hui. Nice to meet you. May I ask who you are? Excuse me, my name is Aofa Ram Tao, the parliamentary representative of the Kingdom of Fenderson. It seems that if the news of my return spread quickly enough, he would come to my door so soon. Hello, Representative Aofa, I need to return to orb now. Can you wait until I'm done with my work? Yang Hui was a little interested in the tuner made by Olamaha Lanbal, but he would not change his schedule because of him. Besides, he also had to show an attitude that matched his status. He would not easily agree to anyone's request. I am sorry for being so presumptuous. Your Excellency Yang Hui is really busy, but my affairs are not complicated. If possible, please allow me to go with you. I also need to return to my country. Aofa Ram Tao did not give up and continued to ask. No problem. Yang Hui had no reason to refuse to just follow him to the airport. He also took this opportunity to contact the representative of Fenderson. Thank you very much. Aofa Ram Tao followed Yang Hui and walked towards the airport together. At the same time, he also stated his demands. Your Excellency Yang Hui, you should know the demands of our country. Yes, although I rarely attend meetings, I have always been very clear about your country's demands. Thank you very much for your contribution to combating terrorist forces. Yang Hui knew nothing. He just heard what Durandal said. Thank you very much for your recognition, Mr. Yang Hui. Then, there is just one thing. My opinion is the same as that of all the representatives. I understand your country's determination, but in past wars, nuclear weapons have left too many indelible wounds. In my opinion, they are just remnants and there is no need to use nuclear bombs at all. But this can reduce casualties among soldiers. According to the intelligence we provided, if a large army is sent to attack, the remnants will scatter and it will be difficult to find them again. But if the troops sent are too few, it will be difficult to eliminate them in one go, and it will also leave hidden dangers. I have read all the intelligence provided by your country. It is true, but this time I will lead the team myself to eliminate the remnants of Blue Cosmos and ensure that none of them escape. Yang Hui said. With the behind-the-scenes support of Fenderson, the remnants of Blue Cosmos already have a strong armed force. As Aofa Ram Tao said, once this group of remnants finds that a large army is approaching, they will break up into small pieces, and it will be very troublesome to find them again. But if the troops sent are too few, they may not be their opponents. So, since they met, Yang Hui took Kira and Aslan to solve them together. While eliminating the hidden danger, he could also give Fenderson a severe deterrent. I see, since Mr. Yang Hui intends to take action personally, I can't say anything more. I wish you success. Thank you. The road to the airport was not long, and the conversation between the two ended there. When they parted, Aofa Ram Tao invited Yang Hui, Mr. Yang Hui, my country has always wanted to invite you to visit my country, but I have never been able to meet you. Fortunately, there is a chance this time. You see. Well, I will arrange the time and notify your country in advance. Yang Hui thought about it and nodded in agreement. He was thinking about how to go to this country to see it. Now that the other party has brought the opportunity to the door, he should not waste it. Thank you very much, Mr. Yang Hui, my country awaits your arrival. The two got on their respective planes and parted in different directions. On the plane, Yang Hui looked at the clouds through the window, and the corners of his mouth raised an arc of interest. Interesting mental waves. I hope you won't be scared in advance. Chapter 1178, Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, Part 3. Stepping onto the land of Orb, Yang Hui took a deep breath and enjoyed the familiar smell. Gundam World was his original home and the starting point of everything. In Yang Hui's heart, it must be ranked first, even if there is no one in Gundam World now, it has not wavered. Second only to Gundam World is Gundam Seed World, Gundam Age World and Gundam UC World cannot compare. Because, only Gundam Seed World, the country of Orb, was developed step by step by Yang Hui since he was a child. He took the weak Orb, a small character trembling in the gap between the two major forces, and jumped to the throne of the king of the world. He paid too much effort for it. Lord Yang Hui, your mansion is still there, and someone is sent to clean it every day. You see. The welcoming official asked Yang Hui after getting in the car. No hurry, take a good look around Orb. I haven't been back for more than a year. I want to see the changes in Orb. Yang Hui waved his hand, dispelled the official's idea, and decided on his own itinerary. Then the adults may be disappointed. Orb has not changed much? The official smiled and shook his head. It should have been a disappointing statement, but he had a proud smile on his face. Oh. Yang Hui also felt the other party's emotions, which were different from what he said, so he became interested. Tell me about it. If you are talking about the construction, there are indeed some changes. Due to the reputation of the adults, various advanced technologies are provided to Orb first. Director Simmons also comes back from time to time to lead everyone to turn these technologies into reality. In addition, the land of the Shuguang Society has been developed. It is the second commercial district and also the world's top trade zone. Hearing this, Yang Hui nodded with satisfaction. After having a huge floating platform on the sea, in addition to sufficient garrison troops and military facilities, production, research and development and other areas are all planned to the floating platform on the sea, turning it into a center of scientific research and heavy industry. The Shuguang Society naturally moved to the floating platform on the sea, and a huge piece of land was vacated in Orb itself. Next to the mass accelerator, Hui, and on the seashore, it naturally became the best choice to develop it into a trade zone. And Papua New Guinea. The local residents have begun to call themselves Orb citizens. The wounds left by the war have been completely healed, the reconstruction has been completed, and now they are developing in line with the Orb mainland. The Zaft army in Carpentaria has not made any moves, right? Although Durandal has joined the Promise Fortress, Plant and Orb can be regarded as one, but Carpentaria is too far away from Plant mainland, and not close to the new headquarters of the Earth Federation. The Emperor is far away, who knows if anyone is making small moves? No, or they dare not move. The official introduced to Yang Hui, the St. Paul Islands are within our territory. A huge military base has been established there, across the sea from the Carpentaria base. It is conventionally equipped with 2 reorganized marine fleets, with 3 MiS squadrons on board, and 5 MiS squadrons on standby at the base, as well as other coordinated forces. Not bad, you haven't been idle during this period. Yang Hui nodded with satisfaction, very happy that this group of people did not slack off after Orb reached the top. These are all the legacies left by the adults. The ambitions of the adults are also what all the people of Orb want. Okay, don't flatter me like this. Yang Hui waved his hand and interrupted the official. He knew that he was flattering the official without sensing his emotions. They did leave a lot of legacies, but Orb is such a big country, it is impossible for everyone to have such a high level of awareness. Yang Hui still understands the principle that if the water is too clear, there will be no fish. Yes. Well? Stop the car. The car stopped, and Yang Hui got off and said to the official in the car, I'll go around alone, you guys go about your business. But the official hesitated and dared not agree. After all, Yang Hui's status was too high and too special. Although it was a peaceful time now, but weren't there still the terrorists of the Blue Cosmos? The news of Yang Hui's return had spread, and there might be assassins hiding around. Moreover, he wanted to get in touch with Yang Hui for a while. After all, being able to work with Yang Hui, even temporarily, would be of great benefit to his career. This is an order. Yang Hui knew what the official was thinking and understood his worries, but he really didn't care. Yang Hui's mental waves could spread to a radius of 5 kilometers. As long as he wanted, within a radius of 5 kilometers, his eyes were everywhere. If there was any malicious intent, he would be able to detect it at the first time. If he was close, dozens of people would not be able to get close to Yang Hui. If he was far away, he would be detected in advance and there would be no threat. Even if he was crazy enough to throw missiles at Yang Hui's coordinates, He would have to pass through Orb's defense line first, right? Yes. The official was helpless. If it was for other reasons, he could still fight for it, but the order. Orb had an unwritten rule. Yang Hui's order was absolute. It didn't matter if he didn't understand it, but he had to execute it, even if he thought the order was a fantasy. If he disobeyed, let alone a smooth career, it would be good if it was not directly intercepted. After watching the vehicle leave, Yang Hui wandered around Orb alone. Although he was not wearing an Orb uniform, his appearance was well known, and people would recognize him wherever he went. Master Yang Hui. You're back. He walked into a familiar coffee shop. Yes, it was the coffee shop where he invited Aslan and Nicole to eat cake. The manager was still the same person and was very surprised to see Yang Hui. Well, I took a break from my busy schedule and came back to take a look. Haha, it seems that Master Yang Hui is really busy. Is it still the same as before? Yes. Wait a moment. Not long after, the manager personally delivered a piece of matcha mousse cake and a cup of cranberry sparkling water and placed them in front of Yang Hui. I didn't expect the manager to really remember it. You have a lot of customers here. Yang Hui teased. Master Yang Hui's preferences cannot be forgotten, and you are the only one who comes to the coffee shop to drink sparkling water. The boss said with a smile. The scene when Yang Hui first came to the store to order sparkling water was still vivid in his mind. At that time, the boss and the waiter were dumbfounded. This is a coffee shop, where did they get the sparkling water? I can't help it. I like tea, wine, and beverages, but coffee. I really don't know why so many people like bitter stuff. Yang Hui said with pretended disdain. Ha ha ha. And if it was anyone else, the store manager and other coffee lovers in the store would have lectured him, but it was Yang Hui who said this, and there were many regular customers in the store, so they knew that Yang Hui was joking. And there are those who are obviously afraid of bitterness, but still insist on ordering a cup of black coffee, without milk or sugar, and pretend to be elegant even though it is so bitter. Oh. Really? Ha ha ha. And the coffee in this store is the best in all Orb. This is the evaluation made by Wang and Wang Liuma themselves, so the regular customers in the store are all real coffee lovers, and they often come to the store. They often see the situation that Yang Hui said, and like Yang Hui, they want to laugh every time they see it. After chatting with familiar customers for a while, Yang Hui finished his sparkling water and cakes, and paid and left. He was familiar with many stores, so he planned to visit them all and get familiar with the current Orb. Thank you for your patronage, Mr. Yang Hui. Haha, I wish the boss's business will continue to be prosperous. Thank you for your good wishes, Mr. Yang Hui. After changing into a new set of clothes, Yang Hui left the familiar clothing store and planned to go to other places, but the appearance of the uninvited guest interrupted Yang Hui's schedule. Yang Hui. Ah. Looking at Kigali who ran over angrily, Yang Hui felt a headache. Lakis and the others' words were not credible. Not to mention how much their abilities had improved, their impetuous temperament had not changed. Kali, calm down, don't be so impetuous. When Kigali walked in front of Yang Hui, Yang Hui reminded her. I can't calm down. You've been gone for more than a year. Mina is okay, she comes back occasionally, Lakis comes back to help a little, Wang and Liuma have also come back, but you've never come back. I'm busy, aren't I? Yang Hui spread his hands helplessly. Can't you spare a day? So I'm back, aren't I? Tisk, you've only come back after so long, and you're back alone. Kigali muttered in dissatisfaction. There's nothing I can do. Forget it, I won't talk about you anymore, come with me, this is not a place to talk, and it's not safe. As soon as the voice fell, Kigali pulled Yang Hui into the car parked nearby, which made Yang Hui stun for a moment, and then he smiled with relief. It's not like I haven't grown at all. The car drove directly into Yang Hui's mansion. As the official said, the mansion was very clean and someone had always been cleaning it. Even though Yang Hui had been away for more than a year, the housekeeper and servants were still there. How many days will you stay this time? Kigali took Yang Hui to the study and asked him. Not sure yet. Durandal gave me a small problem. It will take a few days to deal with it, but it will definitely not take more than a week. What is it? Kigali asked curiously. She had a lot of contact with Durandal. Lux and the others had also done some research and knew that he was an old fox. There were actually things he couldn't handle? Have you heard of the country of Finderson? Of course I know. They are active in fighting terrorists, But I also heard some news. I asked someone to check it out and found a lot of problems. Kigali said while thinking. This scared Yang Hui. Kigali's growth was amazing. Not only did she not foolishly regard the other party as a good person, she also sent people to investigate, and she really found something? Huh? Why do you have this expression? I'm sighing. What are you sighing about? The naughty child at home has finally grown up. Yang Hui. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1179, Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, Part 4. Kigali has grown up, but the character of a naughty child is almost engraved in her bones. How can she bear this kind of stimulation? She was about to pounce on Yang Hui with her teeth bared, but unfortunately, just like when she was a child, she was suppressed by Yang Hui with one hand, pressing on her forehead, and letting Kigali wave her hands. She couldn't touch the corner of her clothes. After playing for a while, Yang Hui saw that Kigali still didn't give up, and couldn't help but stretch out his finger and flicked her forehead hard, so that she calmed down. Well, the advantage of persistence is retained. Yang Hui looked at Kigali squatting on the ground in front of him with her forehead covered. And you are still that bastard. Kigali wanted to get angry again, but her forehead was still burning, and she didn't dare to get angry again, so she could only launch a verbal attack. Thank you for the compliment, everyone says so. Yang Hui smiled, not ashamed but proud. Oh, the effect is very small, triggering the enemy's counter-attack skill. The effect is outstanding. Okay, tell me, how is Orb now? Yang Hui heard about it from the officials in the car just after getting off the plane. He also took a tour of Orb himself, but he still wanted to hear Kigali's opinion. I can only say it's average. When it comes to Orb, Kigali put away her playful attitude and reported to Yang Hui seriously. Yes, it was a report. She put herself below Yang Hui. After you left, you took away the most elite forces of Orb. Fortunately, it is a peaceful period. There is no dispute between Plant and the Earth Federation. It also gives us the opportunity to safely pass through the weak period. Your decision back then was right. Orb was too small before. Without the expansion of territory, it would be very difficult to make up for the missing military force. Even the conventional defense forces are difficult to make up. And the division of various areas of New Orb, I really didn't care about it before. It's too crowded, it can be described as redundant. Listening to Kigali talking, the curve of Yang Hui's mouth became more and more obvious. What Lakis and the others said was true. Kigali has really grown up. Not only did she realize her past mistakes, but she could also see the original intention of the White Dove plan. She also really began to enrich herself and look at the entire orb from the right perspective, instead of just shouting slogans and making others become like her as before. Now, Orb's primary goal is to fully develop the territory of Papua New Guinea, and Yang Hui, I have an idea, but I can't make the decision, and I need your consent. Kigali looked at Yang Hui seriously. Tell me about it. Kigali is now grown up, and her ideas can still be listened to seriously. If it was the naughty child in the past, Yang Hui would not only not listen, but also slap her. I want to dismantle the mass accelerator of the huge floating platform. Keep talking. Hearing this, Yang Hui was stunned for a moment, and his expression became serious. He asked Kigali to continue, because he didn't think that this was Kigali's brainwave. It is true that Orb has 2 mass accelerators, which is very impressive in the world, and both mass accelerators play a huge role. The local, Kaguya, is one of the lifelines of the newly built trade zone, and the mass accelerator of the huge floating platform has also greatly enhanced the circulation of products in the production area, but this is the result I got after many calculations. You can take a look. As she said, Kigali passed a document to Yang Hui, and Yang Hui opened it, which was the income and expenditure of the huge floating platform. According to my calculations, the maintenance cost of this mass accelerator is too huge, which is not proportional to the benefits it brings. In addition, as the main production area, the main products of the huge floating platform are stillmiss, ships, large aircraft, etc., which cannot or do not need to be transported by mass accelerators. Heaven's Pillar also has its own production workshop, and the space battleships and the space army's MIS can be self-sufficient, and the mass accelerator used purely for civil aviation. The gain is not worth the loss, so I want to dismantle it. Kigali said her opinion. Once the space army needs support, it is too late to deploy troops by relying on Kaguya alone. What should we do? Yang Hui assigned a test question to Kigali. I have also considered this point. For this reason, I have contacted Mina specifically. To be honest, the strength of the Space Army is much stronger than that of the Earth Army. Now the Orb Space Army has 5 reorganized fleets, and each fleet has 5 regular MIS units. In addition, we also have the Boyat's Fortress, which has 3 regular reorganized fleets and a large number of garrisons. If the Space Army needs support, then Orb is almost finished. By the way, Mina has the same opinion. Kigali's opinion excludes the Promise Fortress. In Yang Hui's opinion, it is very pertinent. If it is Plant or the Earth Federation, then the consumption of 1 or 2 mass accelerators is harmless, and 1 or 2 more will have more advantages than disadvantages. However, even if Orb expands its territory, it is not that large. The burden of 2 mass accelerators is indeed a bit heavy. In addition, the Gundam seed world has entered a period of peace and stability, and there will be no large-scale full-scale war. Even if there is, won't there be support from the Promise Corps? Do it according to your idea. Yang Hui gave a nod. You agreed. It's reasonable and beneficial to Orb, why not? Yang Hui smiled. Great. Kigali was very excited, not because her decision was approved, but because Yang Hui recognized her. She has been working so hard, isn't it just to prove that she can grow up and be independent? Ding ding ding. Good things come in pairs. At this moment, Kigali's pad rang, connecting the communication. Kagali-sama, Yamato-sama and Sura-sama are back. Huh? Kira and Athrin are back. Kigali was overwhelmed by the surprise for a moment. Yes, and they brought brand new machines, and Lord Yang Hui's machine. Huh? Hearing that the 2 of them were returning with machines, and also brought back Yang Hui's machine, the fiery excitement immediately cooled down, and looked at Yang Hui. Where are they now? The former secret dock of the Dawn Society. Okay, I'll be there soon. Let them wait for me there. Yes, Lord Kigali. After hanging up the communication, Kigali looked at Yang Hui with a heavy expression. Is there going to be another battle? Not really, at best, it's just at the level of playing. Yang Hui shrugged. He brought the machines with him as a precaution. Even if Fenderson really planned to fight to the death, in front of the 3 successfully awakened Dawn series, he was just like a child, and it couldn't be called a battle at all. Fenderson. Yes. Just kidding. Just don't go too far, let's go. Kigali knew that Yang Hui was not the kind of person who didn't know the importance of things. Since he had his own plans, there was no need to worry. Whether it was playing tricks or fighting, 100 Kigali together were no match for Yang Hui. Where are we going? The secret dock. Kira and Aslan have brought your mechas here. Let's go and see your new mechas. Slow down. Don't pull. I can walk by myself. So handsome. Kigali hurried to the secret dock. Looking at the 3 new mechas in front of her, her eyes sparkled with bright little stars. Although she hated fighting and war, she was also a real tomboy and loved these handsome and cool large mechas very much. What are their names? Kigali asked the 3 people excitedly. Mine, Ersterlin, Creation, Kira's, Wash, Guardian, Aslan's, Jejanangrif, Counterattack, and the Legion's latest series of ace machines, the Dawn series. Prepare one for me too. You're dreaming. Yang Hui cursed angrily. Kira and Aslan smiled bitterly and shook their heads. Not everyone can drive the Dawn series. The price to pay is not small. Driving the machine itself is a risk. Tisk, so stingy. For the Dawn series, if you are not at the peak of B rank, you are not qualified to drive it. This is the case in the Legion, let alone you. Are you looking down on me? I have never missed any training in MIS driving. Kigali, it's not like that. Kira held Kigali and shook his head at her. His sister has indeed grown up, but there are still many characteristics that cannot be changed. Look at our eyes. What is this? Kigali looked and found that Kira's purple pupils turned gold, and Aslan's green pupils also turned gold. And it was not just a change in color, as if some strange light filled the pupils. Then, Kira and Aslan patiently explained to Kigali the special features of the Dawn series, which made her give up the plan to get a Dawn series. At the same time, she also became a little disappointed. I still can't do anything. Yang Hui and his team did become stronger, but they also paid a huge price. For the mission of Promise Fortress and for everything they held on to in their hearts, they kept moving forward with difficulty. Only she could only stay in orb to look after the house. Who said you can't do anything? Aren't you doing quite well? Yang Hui ruffled Kigali's hair, making it into a mess. Looking after the house is also a very important job. Look at Mrs. Noreen, General Gop. Aren't they also looking after the house? With a stable rear area, we can fight on the front line without distraction. Well, I know, it's just, cheer up, Kigali. You've been hit hard by me many times, but you can cheer up and continue to fight against me. Who told you to say that? Bastard. Ho ha ho ha. X3 by the way, Kira, Aslan, and Durandal should have told you the situation, right? Yes. X2 get ready. Tomorrow we will clean up the remnants of the Blue Cosmos together, and then you two will go to Finderson with me to meet that Olamaha Landball. Understood. X2. Chapter 1180, Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, v. In the Finderson Palace, the Queen's bedroom, 4 or 5 teenage boys and girls were leaning against a petite Olamaha Landball, their eyes full of attachment. Olamaha Landball stroked the hair of one of them, not only without any shame, but also enjoying it with his eyes closed like a kitten. Knock knock. At this time, the door was knocked, and Olamaha Landball also stopped what he was doing. Doctor, it's me, Aofi. Come in. Olamaha Landball's calm voice sounded, letting the person outside the door in. Finderson Prime Minister Aofi Ram Tao, who met with Yang Hui at the Earth Federation headquarters, walked in respectfully. Seeing the children leaning against Olamaha Landball, he smiled and shook his head. A glimmer of envy flashed in his eyes, but he quickly put it away. Queen, Aobu has sent a letter. His Excellency Yang Hui will lead people to wipe out the remnants of Blue Cosmos tomorrow, and will visit our country the day after tomorrow. Aofi Ram Tao reported. Are you going to do it so soon? Olamaha Landball was stunned for a moment and asked. Yes. Oh, I still underestimated him. He is really, as the rumors say, vigorous and resolute, and you can't tolerate any sand in his eyes. Olamaha Landball said with emotion. She has always known about Yang Hui's existence. After parting ways with Tillander, she also studied all of Yang Hui's information, but she has never really come into contact with him. As a scientist, she will not confirm her judgment of a person based on the information. Do you know how many people he brought? Olamaha Landball asked. Yes, Mr. Yang Hui did not hide it. He only brought 2 people for this eradication operation, Kira Yamato and Aslan Sala. Aofi Ram Tao continued to report. Kira Yamato? Aslan Sala? Are you sure you will only bring them 2 people? Olamaha Landball frowned. Yes. Aofi Ram Tao was as confused as Olamaha Landball. He confirmed the news again and again, but this also made him more confused. He personally supported the remnants of Blue Cosmos, and he knew best how much armed force he had. Even if Yang Hui, Kira and Aslan were top trump cards, it was very unwise for only 3 people to wipe out the remnants of Blue Cosmos. The 3 of them had been missing for more than a year. How much improvement could they have made in just over a year? How could 3 people destroy the terrorist organization he personally supported? How? He is too intoxicated with the title of the strongest in the world, right? At this time, the silver-haired boy leaning against Olamaha Landball's legs said with disdain, and the other boys and girls also showed contemptuous expressions. Don't underestimate the enemy. Sure, Yang Hui's title of the strongest was not given by himself, but was obtained through real combat results. Olamaha Landball taught the arrogant boys a lesson. But he is just a natural man, and we are tuners. I will definitely defeat him and prove that I am the strongest. Shurasa Penton, the chief of defense of Finderson, is also the captain of the Black Knight Squad of Olamaha Landball's personal guard as the commander of the guards division. All the young men around him are members of the Black Knight Squad, and are the results of Olamaha Landball. They are called tuners, and are beyond adjusters. I know that you are all the best, but don't underestimate that man. He led the weak orb all the way to the top of the world. It's not that simple. Yes, doctor, we get it. Aofi. Doctor. What's the specific time tomorrow? According to the information I received, it's 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Sure, the Black Knight Squad is ready to attack and will set off at 8 o'clock tomorrow, but don't be too anxious. If the battle is not going well, you can carry out rescue. At the same time, Aofe revealed this information to Blue Cosmos. Yes, Dr. Aofe Ramtau immediately understood Olamaha Landbill's plan. Like him, he was not optimistic about Yang Hui's eradication operation this time. Olamaha Landbill planned to notify Blue Cosmos in advance and let them set traps for Yang Hui, Kira and Aslan. When the three were in a tough battle, the Black Knight Squad came on the scene as reinforcements and rescued Yang Hui, Kira and Aslan. In this way, Yang Hui's undefeated myth will be shaken, and the title of the strongest pilot will also go with it. The powerful appearance of the Black Knight team will become famous, and along with it, Finderson's international status will be greatly improved. Ofe, you and Ingrid should also go together to ensure that everything is foolproof. This? Doctor, are we going to expose Garuda now? Don't worry, as long as it can achieve the goal, just expose it. Yes, I will do it immediately. The next morning, the fiery red sunrise emerged from the horizon, and the warm sunlight filled the earth. In the hidden dock, Yang Hui, Kira and Aslan had already boarded their respective machines and were ready to set off. Why do you have to call us back? You can easily solve it by yourself, right? Aslan complained in the cockpit. Yang Hui's bad taste strikes again. Kira smiled bitterly and shook his head. Any one of the three could easily deal with the remnants of Blue Cosmos or Finderson. Even if Finderson had several high-yield nuclear bombs in his hands, Freedom Wash, Guardian, would create a barrier to wrap him up and prevent him from being blown open, just as Jejanangrif, counterattack, would directly rebound the power of the nuclear bomb or the explosion to a place where no one was around. Dawn Ersterlin, creation, had even more ways, such as directly assimilating and eating him, creating a wrapping barrier like Freedom Wash, Guardian, and taking off to intercept. But Yang Hui asked Kira and Aslan to come together, wasn't it just to satisfy his bad taste? Think about it, Ersterlin, creation, can easily wipe out the remnants of Blue Cosmos, but Yang Hui also has Wash, Guardian, and Jejanangrif, counterattack, two machines of the same level. If it goes as Kira expected, Yang Hui is going to set off a big firework, and one shot will decide the outcome, completely deterring Finderson and those people around the world who are ready to make a move. Finderson's target is not just me, so you guys have to be there too. Yang Hui said as a matter of course. There's no place for me. Aslan muttered aggrievedly. Aslan. The connection of Siegfried Network, you are by my side, and you can hear my thoughts, what's the point of whispering? I just want you to hear it. Aslan roared angrily. Ahoha. Yang Hui, time's up. Kira reminded. Then let's go. Understood. X2 As Yang Hui's order was issued, Kira and Aslan both entered a serious state. In stark contrast to the playfulness just now, the three cool machines broke away from the fixed frame, walked out of the steel gate of the secret dock one step at a time, and were exposed to the sun. Let's go, follow the plan. Understood X2. At the Earth Federation headquarters, Durandal received a report from the secretary, Speaker, Mr. Yang Hui has set off. 3 people. 3 people. I see, you go down. Yes. After the secretary left, Durandal was the only one left in the office. He did not continue to sit behind the desk to process documents, but poured himself a glass of red wine and sat comfortably on the soft sofa, facing the huge French window, so that he could see the blue sky and the busy Federation headquarters. I hope you can catch this surprise, or it's a bit big. Cheers! Chapter 1181 Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, VI. Lord Aofe, it's almost time. The annihilation operation of the remnants of the Blue Cosmos was about to begin. 5 Black Knights of different colors from Finderson's Black Knight squad stood behind a White Knight. The Garuda, the special machine of Prime Minister Aofe Ramtau, adopted a double-seat cockpit. 2 pilots co-piloted the machine. The front seat was responsible for the control of the machine, and the back seat was responsible for the control of the weapons. The other Black Knights were the same, all of which were next-generation machines specialized in combat, combining a large amount of planned technology, and then adding the new technology developed by Olamaha Landbill, which was enough to equip the miniaturized light transmitter on the Super Dragoon, the new generation of Femtech armor, FT armor, and the beam cloak that could resist beams or be used as a weapon to cut. What the Garuda had more than the Black Knight was the new Super Dragoon. Because it was equipped with a miniaturized light transmitter, it was faster and its movements were more bizarre. Aofu Ramtao was designed based on Yang Hui. He was able to drive a mecha to conquer the world and lead a small country to the top of the world. Well, get ready. That man won't be late. Aofu Ramtao said. He also studied Yang Hui carefully. He was not so stupid as to think that Yang Hui would become arrogant after his success. A person who was so easily corrupted would not be able to accomplish great achievements. I hope he comes soon. I really want to see with my own eyes how powerful the Dawnbreaker is. And the strike freedom of the strongest adjuster Kira Yamato and the infinite justice of Athranzala. Oh, don't be ridiculous. Kira Yamato is not the strongest adjuster. According to the results of the data analysis, Athranzala is stronger than Kira Yamato. It doesn't matter. He is not as powerful as us anyway. Ha ha ha, that's right. At this time, the radar detection systems of the Black Knight Squadron and Garuda both sent prompts. 3 flying objects were approaching their location at a terrifying speed. All aircraft disperse, alert. The opponent's speed was too fast, so fast that Aofu Ramtao had no energy to connect the 3 aircraft with Yang Hui, Kira, and Athran. As 3 golden meteors streaked across the sky and landed in front of Garuda and Black Knight Squadron, they saw their true faces and breathed a sigh of relief. The signal indicated that it was unknown, but they could see the shadows of Dawn Gundam, Strike Freedom Gundam, and Infinite Justice Gundam. But after relaxing, they were horrified. Not to mention the other changes in the 3 machines, the speed they just showed was not something they could deal with, at least not to keep. This is the Supreme Commander of Orb and Commander-in-Chief of the Army, Yang Hui. After the communication was connected, Yang Hui first reported his identity. Although Dawn Ersterlin, Creation, was awakened by Dawn Gundam, the official machine number was not entered into the system here. Yang Hui didn't mind playing with Garuda and Black Knight Squadron, but now the other party did nothing. Yang Hui had no excuse to take action directly, and the procedures should still be followed to avoid being criticized. The problem would not be big, but it would be troublesome, and he didn't want to hear Durandal complaining in his ear. Sir Yang Hui, this is Garuda, which belongs to Findershan, Aofu Ramtao, and the Queen's personal guard, Black Knight Squad. Why are you here? Yang Hui asked. The Queen is worried that Sir Yang Hui is alone and weak, so she sent us to support him. Why didn't I, as the highest person in charge of this operation, receive a notice in advance? This is a spontaneous reinforcement operation of our country. Time is urgent, and there is no time to report to the Parliament and you. While answering, Aofu Ramtao was cursing in his heart. Yang Hui's information was indeed correct. He was very rigorous in doing things. He would raise any small problem and criticize it. And now is not the time to tangle with this issue, right? Forget it, it won't happen again. Yang Hui didn't want to deliberately make things difficult for Aofu Ramtao and the Black Knight Squad. It was just a habit that he had always maintained. Any military action would not allow such variables to appear. If they appeared, they would be regarded as threats at the first time. Moreover, Yang Hui could be sure at the first sight of them that these people were not so kind. If they really came to support them, the malice emanating from their bodies could not be hidden. Thank you very much. Since you didn't report in advance, you are not included in my combat plan. Without my order, stay here and don't act on your own. Yang Hui directly ordered Aofu Ramtao and the Black Knight Squad, ignoring the increased malice. Since they are here, they should obey his command obediently. Otherwise, Yang Hui doesn't mind cutting them into sticks before the battle begins. Understood, we will follow your instructions. Aofu Ramtao's chat channel has been noisy. These people in the Black Knight Squad are arrogant and have no good feelings towards Yang Hui, so they are naturally unwilling to obey his orders. However, Aofu Ramtao remained rational. Of course, he was unwilling to accept such arrogant command, but thinking of the speed at which the 3 planes arrived just now, he was not sure of falling out with Yang Hui. He immediately calmed everyone's emotions before answering Yang Hui. Well, Kira, Aslan, the battle begins. Understood, but it seems that we have nothing to do. Aslan replied weakly. His and Kira's mission was simple, which was to disperse and guard on both sides, and intercept the enemy if they escaped. But they had already guessed Yang Hui's plan, So how could anyone escape? Not to mention people, not even a fly could fly out. Yang Hui, don't go too far. Before leaving, Kira reminded Yang Hui that deterrence was fine, but don't use too much force. Not to mention how people would be afraid of Yang Hui, the earth alone might not be able to bear it. Don't worry, I know the limit. He. X2, Freedom Wash, Guardian, and Justice Judge and Angrif, counterattack, dispersed to both sides. Before separating, Kira kindly put a shield on Dawn Ersterlin, Creation, and Garuda, Black Knight Squad, and a large number of drones that stayed behind also put a shield on them, so as not to affect them too much by the aftermath. What? You underestimate us, don't you? Lord Aofi, we. Don't act rashly. There are too many unknowns about the new machine. This is a good opportunity to observe. Everyone, watch carefully and record the whole process. Only by understanding your enemy can you know how to defeat him. Aofi Ramtao instructed everyone in the Black Knight Squad. Understood. Although X5 was indignant, the Black Knight Squad listened to Aofi Ramtao very much, because at the beginning of the design, Ola Mahaland will design them to be born to serve Aofi Ramtao, so as long as it was Aofi Ramtao's order, they would obey unconditionally. Aofi Ramtao's ideal was also very simple, that is, to observe and record. He was confident in dealing with Yang Hui before because he thought he had studied Yang Hui thoroughly, and his special ability was not exposed. The enemy was clear and I was in the dark, so the advantage was in my hands. And now, Yang Hui took out his unknown reliance again. If he didn't understand it, he would not be completely sure, so he didn't dare to act directly. However, the next second, Aoi Ramtao and everyone in the Black Knight Squad were stunned and lost the ability to think. Chapter 1182, Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, Part 7. Dawn Ersterlin, Creation, did not use a very fast speed, just like a walk after dinner, it flew lightly into the sphere of influence of the blue cosmos, remnants, and it looked completely unprepared, which made the hidden, blue cosmos, remnants stunned. What is it going to do? The ambush circle is quite perfect, am I so hated? Such strong malice. When arriving at the designated location, Yang Hui sensed the hidden strong malice. Within the range of the sublimated GN particles, Yang Hui's mental wave induction was expanded tenfold, almost covering the entire sphere of influence of the blue cosmos, remnants. Under the induction of mental waves, the ambush circle of the blue cosmos, remnants was nowhere to hide, and was completely exposed in Yang Hui's mind. Knowing in advance that Yang Hui and the other two were coming to destroy them, and setting up such a perfect ambush circle, there was no need to think too much, it must be a leak of information. Yang Hui only announced that he would take Kira and Aslan to destroy the blue cosmos, remnants, but the specific combat plan and combat time were not announced to the public. So, Gilbert. Yang Hui contacted Durandal, who was far away at the headquarters of the Earth Federation. The intelligence leak. Have you checked it out? I've been watching for a long time, but I haven't found any evidence. Haha, you're still as bold as ever, and I dare to use you. Who knew they would really dare to cross the red line, so I'll just do it. By the way, the commander-in-chief won't be so stingy, right? Originally Durandal didn't have so many ideas. He asked Yang Hui to return to this world just to deal with the trouble of Fenderson. As for the dirty things in the Federation, there is no need to doubt such things. The truth is that if the water is too clear, there will be no fish. Durandal knows very well that it is normal to have a few people with bad intentions. Originally Durandal didn't want to deal with them. Even if he dealt with this batch, there would be the next batch. It's better to keep familiar people watching under his nose, so that he can't turn the world upside down. This is also the tacit understanding between Durandal and some forces. However, there is one thing that Durandal, or all members of the Promise Corps, absolutely cannot tolerate, and that is to put evil thoughts on Yang Hui. Once this red line is touched, don't blame Durandal for being ruthless. Okay, you can do it yourself. I'm about to start. I thought it was over. Durandal said jokingly, also teasing Yang Hui. Why hasn't it been so long yet? Have you retreated? Or have you underestimated your opponent? Don't worry, it will be quick. After hanging up the communication, Yang Hui once again sensed the entire sphere of influence of the remnant of the blue cosmos through mental waves. Very good, they are all malicious, and it can be confirmed that there are no innocent ordinary people, so there is no scruple. Thinking of this, the wings of Dawn Erstellen, creation, stretched out, and golden particles gushed out, dyeing the airspace with brilliant gold. Hey. What exactly does he want to do? At the headquarters of the remnant of the Blue Cosmos, Michael, a former colonel of the Earth Federation, looked at the leisurely Dawn Erstellen, creation, and was unable to react for a while. He didn't know what the other party wanted to do, and he didn't give the order to attack. In fact, he was not a loyal follower of Blue Cosmos. When the scandal of Blue Cosmos was made public, he also withdrew from Blue Cosmos. Anyway, those who knew he was a member of Blue Cosmos were either dead or disappeared. If he could keep his identity as a colonel in the Federation Army, he would stay in the Federation Army until retirement, and he would not have to worry about his life. Who would have thought that one day, a mysterious person who claimed to be a senior member of Blue Cosmos came to him and produced a lot of hard evidence to prove that he was a member of Blue Cosmos. He threatened him that if he did not stand up to lead the remnants of Blue Cosmos, he would report the fact that he concealed it to the Earth Federation. He had no choice but to stand up. There was no way. At the beginning, he was lucky and did not take the initiative to report to the Earth Federation that he was a member of Blue Cosmos. The opportunity was missed. If he confessed it this time, his identity as a colonel would definitely not be kept, and his wealth and glory in the second half of his life would be gone. Colonel Michael was naturally unwilling, so he agreed. Then, he never knew the identity of the mysterious man, but the support provided by the mysterious man was so great that he had imagined that he would lead Blue Cosmos to regain its glory and become the supreme leader of Blue Cosmos, with a life of luxury and wealth. Who knew? Yang Hui, who had been missing for more than a year, came back and wanted to completely destroy them as soon as he came back. The moment Colonel Michael knew about it, he peed his pants directly and almost wanted to pack up and run away. He had to live to enjoy the glory and wealth. Yang Hui, that devil, was the nightmare of all the Atlantic Federation Army. He wanted to escape, but the mysterious man who supported him behind the scenes didn't think so. Not only was the threat more serious, but he also provided detailed and accurate intelligence, which gave him some confidence. Now, Yang Hui appeared in front of him again, driving a brand new machine. Everything about the machine was unknown, but he did not attack in a big way. Instead, he slowly flew into the ambush circle he had arranged. Kira Yamato and Aslan Zala, who followed him, also guarded the outer sides and had no intention of actively attacking. This made Colonel Michael not know how to deal with it for a while. Could it be, he is not coming to attack us? But to negotiate? Then am I? Colonel Michael was still fantasizing that Yang Hui was not sure of destroying them, so he changed the destruction to negotiation, and he wanted to negotiate with Blue Cosmos. Thinking of this, Colonel Michael unconsciously straightened his back, with a big boss attitude that he was sure of victory and had a plan in mind. But the next second, Colonel, the enemy machine began to spread golden special particles. The spreading speed is very fast, and it is expected to cover the entire area in 5 seconds. The front-line troops are interrupted in communication. It is GN particles. Zizzy. Bang bang bang. XN at this time, the golden GN particles have filled the headquarters, and the SIC is still anxiously reporting, or trying to contact the troops in the ambush circle on the front line, but with the spread of GN particles, all the electronic equipment in the headquarters are jumping with arcs, and exploded with a bang, black smoke billowing, and completely scrapped. How? How is it possible? We should have taken measures to prevent interference from GN particles. Colonel Michael panicked. GN particles have been popularized in the Gundam seed world, and the means to prevent interference from GN particles have naturally become popular. They must have been prepared. But, this kind of golden GN particles are unheard of, and ordinary GN particles do not have the ability to directly destroy electronic equipment. Encountering an unknown situation, Colonel Michael's mind was blank for a moment. He raised his eyes and looked at the only main screen that was still lit, staring blankly at the sacred body wrapped in golden light. Wait? Why is the main screen not damaged? Colonel Michael was shocked. The main screen is also an electronic device. It should have been destroyed along with other electronic devices. Little did they know that this was left for them by Yang Hui on purpose, because the scene that was about to happen would be very cool. Chapter 1183 Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, VIE. Okay, everything is ready, please enjoy. Before Yang Hui finished speaking, Erstellen, creation, raised his palm, and a delicate orange-black energy sphere floated in his palm. The tremendous energy distorted the surrounding space, and black arcs of electricity leaped in the air, a grand fireworks festival. The energy sphere appeared, but Erstellen, creation, did not throw it out immediately. Instead, he waited for the sphere in his palm to split into more than a dozen, and then spread out, revolving around Erstellen, creation. Go ahead. Yang Hui's will was passed to Don Erstellen, creation. He raised his right hand and waved it gently. The energy sphere that was spinning around stopped, disappeared at a very fast speed, turned into a beam of light, and fell to the ground, and then, boom. The energy sphere had not yet touched the ground. The ambushed, blue cosmos, remnants were still looking at the small sphere, not knowing what it was. The next second, it exploded. The high temperature melted the earth, and the shock wave swept everything. The wormhole energy opened its bloody mouth and devoured it wantonly. In an instant, the entire land was not only filled with flames soaring into the sky, but also with huge black wormholes eating the earth. It was a doomsday scene. The blue cosmos, remnants hiding on the earth had no mood and no opportunity to appreciate this magnificent scenery. Yang Hui's mental wave had already locked their position. The direction in which each small sphere fell was the direction in which they were most densely concentrated. There were exactly a dozen energy spheres, and the coverage of the explosion completely covered the entire encirclement without leaving a single gap. The moment the ball exploded, the ambushed troops of the remnant of blue cosmos were either directly vaporized by the high temperature, or crushed into pieces by the shock wave, or swallowed up by the wormhole. Oh, right, I almost forgot about that. As he spoke, Don Erstellen, creation, looked in the direction of the headquarters outside the explosion range. There was also a gathering place for the reserve troops besides the ambushed troops. Don Erstellen, creation, did not put down his raised hand, but clenched his open palm tightly. Rich golden particles gathered in the air and condensed into dozens of GN Super Dragoons, locking onto the rear of the sky-high flames, which was the direction of the remnant headquarters and reserve troops of Blue Cosmos. The deep red and black light condensed at the muzzle of the GN Super Dragoon, and then exploded. Dozens of spiral beams burst out, plowing the earth, spinning, tearing, and collapsing. Really, it's too much? Aslan complained depressedly. Not to mention Yang Hui, even he discovered the ambush circle of the remnants of Blue Cosmos at the first time, and he also spent a lot of money. There are hundreds of various MIS, many armed defense facilities, and a large number of people holding MIS-specific rocket launchers to lock Don Erstellen, creation. But at this level, concentrated wormhole energy balls are still needed? More than a dozen. Question mark. Don't you know that each one has the power comparable to a nuclear bomb? Question mark. Oh, by the way, there is also the last quantum reaction cannon. Although the output power is controlled and it will not affect and damage the Earth's environment, but obviously, the problem can be easily solved by ordinary GN Super Dragoons. Why do you have to make it so gorgeous? Fortunately, I was prepared. Kira on the other side also had a resentful expression on his face. At first, he only thought that Yang Hui might throw a concentrated wormhole energy ball, which was the most deterrent means. You see, I can easily make a nuclear weapon that I hold in my hand like a treasure and use as a deterrent. So Kira thought that there would be a lot of noise from the beginning. Although he didn't know the people from Garuda and Black Knight Squad, since they obeyed the command, they were friendly forces. Their current position was still a bit dangerous, so he kindly gave them a layer of force field barrier. However, when Kira saw that Don Erstellen, creation, was surrounded by a whole circle of wormhole energy balls, he shouted in his heart that it was not good, and immediately controlled Freedom Wash, Guardian, to deploy the force field barrier at the maximum force, wrapping up the entire area, otherwise, let alone the area where the remnants of Blue Cosmos were located, the area around the aftermath energy was turned upside down, not to mention that the quantum reaction cannon was used. Okay, the mission is over. Shut up. I don't want to hear your voice now. X2 even Kira, who has a good temper, couldn't help but lose his temper at this time. Don't you think it's beautiful? In Siegfried Network, Yang Hui smiled awkwardly. Shut up. Otherwise, let Wong and the others deal with you. X2 up. Yang Hui decisively chose to shut up. Kira and Aslan couldn't do anything to him, but Wong and the others had too many ways to deal with Yang Hui. At least he didn't want to sleep with his arms around the toilet. This is really troublesome. Looking at the flames and smoke that had not diminished for a long time, Aslan's head hurt. The remnants of blue cosmos could be confirmed to have been eliminated easily, but the aftermath would be a big problem. The concentrated wormhole energy has the power of a nuclear explosion, but it does not have the most difficult radiation to deal with. The quantum reaction cannon with controlled output power will only cause a short-term gravity disorder, which will soon recover. These are all minor problems. The real big problem is the world's fear of Yang Hui and the fear of Orb. Only a very few people know the existence of the Promise Fortress. To most people, the new machine driven by Yang Hui was developed by Orb. The Awakened Dawn series can no longer be described as super generation. It is a real monster. In the Gundam Seed world, only Dawn Erstellen creation is enough to destroy the world. And Orb, which developed it, will definitely become the target of public criticism, feared and targeted by the whole world. Yang Hui, have you never considered the consequences of doing this? Kira also thought of this and couldn't help but worry. Although he has now joined the Promise Corps, Orb is still his homeland and the starting point of everything. Speak. X2, didn't you tell me to shut up? Yang Hui replied pitifully, as humble as he could be. You. Sigh. X2, Kira and Aslan decided to report the situation to Wong and the others immediately, and let them deal with Yang Hui. In the future, Yang Hui will absolutely refuse any missions to be carried out alone, without hesitation and without leaving any room. It really messes with people's mentality. In order to consolidate Yang Hui's position, establish the strong image of the Earth Federation, and appease the panicked people, Durandal and the senior members of the parliament unanimously decided to make public the detailed combat process after the war in order to consolidate Yang Hui's position, establish the strong image of the Earth Federation, and appease the panicked people. They all knew the Promise Fortress and had absolute confidence in Yang Hui, so they never thought that they would fail. But now. Who said that just now? It feels like they are going to make trouble. Durandal looked around at the senior members of the parliament present with a fierce look on his face. Just before the start, everyone watched with relish and thought about how to publicize it later. But one of them suddenly asked, "Your Excellency the Commander-in-Chief, you are not going too far, are you?" At that time, no one took it seriously, thinking that Yang Hui was not a person who could not distinguish the importance of things, and he would definitely be able to grasp the degree. But now, the parliamentarian who spoke at that time was sweating profusely, his face was full of embarrassment, and his eyes kept dodging. "You're such a jinx. And it's not my fault, it was the Commander-in-Chief who did it, I was just worried beforehand. But you're such a jinx. XN. Chapter 1184, Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, Part 9. Not only the Earth Federation headquarters, Yang Hui's return attracted countless people's attention at the beginning, not to mention that he reappeared after more than a year and immediately led the army to wipe out the remnants of the Blue Cosmos. Almost all the high-level people in the world focused their attention on Yang Hui. At the beginning, when the three machines, Dawn Erstellen, Creation, Freedom Wash, Guardian, and Justice Jejanangrif, Counterattack, appeared in their field of vision, they were sweating. It has only been more than a year, and Orb has developed a new ace machine. With Yang Hui's personality, the new machine must be stronger than Dawn Gundam, otherwise how could Yang Hui change to a new machine? Back then, Dawn Gundam had already frightened everyone, and now there is a stronger machine, so we must pay attention to it. Originally, everyone thought that even if the new machine was stronger than Dawn Gundam, how strong could it be? But the facts proved that their imagination was still too conservative. No, it should be said that their vision was still too narrow. Nuclear bomb? Genesis? Is it still needed? Seeing how relaxed and comfortable it is, Dawn Erstellen, Creation, itself is an endless number of nuclear bombs. In the past, their fear of Orb was due to Yang Hui. Orb was able to reach this point today, all thanks to Yang Hui. Although Wong and Wang Liumi also played a vital role in it, in their opinion, it was Yang Hui who dominated all of this. If Yang Hui had not appeared, Orb would still be the sleeping lion, before, locked up in the zoo for everyone to watch. The best proof is that Yang Hui has been missing for more than a year, and a large group of elites such as Wang Liumi, Setsuna, Lyle, and Tiira have all disappeared. Although everyone continues to recognize Orb's status, it is only superficial. Orb, which has entered a period of peace, is being planned by them to dethrone it. Why? Just because Orb still does not have their own strategic weapons, let alone such a large project as Genesis, it does not even have nuclear bombs. As we all know, having a sword and having a sword but not using it are two different things. Once upon a time, Yang Hui was Orb's strategic weapon. When Yang Hui disappeared, a large group of elite soldiers disappeared as well. Orb was like a lion with its teeth plucked out and its claws cut off. It was no longer a threat. But now, Yang Hui is back, telling everyone in the world that he is still here, and Orb is still the king of the world. What on earth is that? I don't know. The spies we placed in Orb didn't receive any news. It's like they appeared out of thin air. Check. We must check it out. And Kira Yamato and Aslan Zala's new machines must have big problems. Not only should we check the intelligence of the machines, but also Wang Li Noriega, Wang Liumei, Setsuna F. Kingayan, Lyle Durandi, T. Iriard. These three people are back, but what about the others? Where did the others go? Yang Hui's strong return has caused a surge of activity all over the world, and they have been moving around secretly, investigating the information they want. Yang Hui thought of these problems, but he didn't care. What he had to do was to scare these people and make them afraid. With the efforts of Durandal and the top leaders of the parliament, the Gundam seed world has completely entered a stable situation. Although Yang Hui and others have not shown up, the publicity has never stopped. The news released to the outside world has always been about carrying out secret missions, etc. Yang Hui has returned with a stronger attitude, and most people will only cheer passionately instead of fearing and rejecting him. There are only two situations for people who really fear and reject powerful forces. Either they are patients with paranoia or they have something to hide, and these two, in many cases, are the same existence. The operation is over, and there are no prisoners. Yang Hui used mental waves to sense that there were no survivors in the shrouded area. It can be confirmed that the remnants of Blue Cosmos have been destroyed. There may be a part of them hiding in society, but it must be a very small part. This part of people is Durandal's job. Then, Mr. Yang Hui. Seeing the three planes of Dawn Ersterlin, Creation, Freedom Wash, Guardian, and Justice Jejanangrif, counterattack, flying back, Aofi Ramtao's feet were shaking. Sir, the battle is over. Your troops have made this trip in vain. No. It's okay, Sir Yang Hui. Aofi Ramtao quickly suppressed the fear in his heart, and tried to calm down as much as possible to talk to Yang Hui. Being able to eliminate the remnants of Blue Cosmos is the best result, and it is also our honor to be able to watch Sir Yang Hui's heroic figure up close. There is no such thing as a wasted trip. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your help, Sir Yamato. Aofi Ramtao thanked Kira again. After all, the opponent's force field barrier blocked the aftermath. Looking at the situation, the aftermath alone can destroy them all. You're welcome, sir. It's my job. Then, sir, I believe your country should have received the message from Orb. I will lead the team to visit your country tomorrow. Yang Hui reminded Aofi Ramtao. Don't come. Aofi Ramtao yelled in his heart. He originally invited Yang Hui to Fenderson to test Yang Hui and see if he could control him with special means. If not, he would embarrass him. But now, the intelligence had a huge error. The Yang Hui in front of him and the Yang Hui in the intelligence were simply different dimensions. Who would be embarrassed if he went to Fenderson at this time? Or, would Fenderson dare to embarrass Yang Hui? Yes, Your Excellency Yang Hui, our country has received a message from Orb. Before coming, the Queen ordered to start preparations. We must welcome Your Excellency Yang Hui's arrival with the highest standards. Although he was reluctant in his heart, Yang Hui said so, and he was the one who invited him in the first place, so he had to bite the bullet and accept it. It's my honor. We will arrive on time tomorrow. We will take our leave now. After saying that, Yang Hui didn't wait for Aofi Ramtao to answer. The three machines nodded slightly, turned into meteors and rushed into the sky, leaving this place. Lord Aofi. After the three machines of Dawn Ersterlin, Creation, Freedom Wash, Guardian, and Justice Jejanangrif, counterattack, left for a few minutes, the members of the Black Knight Squad came to their senses and called Aofi Ramtao. What's the matter? Aofi Ramtao asked back. We are now, returned to the country, Send the battle record just now back to the country immediately, and tell the research department. No matter what, I want to get the results before the other party arrives tomorrow. Yes. Also, notify the intelligence department to check Yang Hui, Chakra Yamato and Aslan Zala, as well as the Orb Elite who disappeared that year, even if it's just a clue. Understood. Chapter 1185, Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, 10. This is what happened. So Yang Hui, I'm going to Fenderson tomorrow, and this matter will be almost resolved. I should return to the fortress. Don't even think about it. You bastard. Durandal yelled in exasperation, you caused such a big mess, and you want to just walk away? Don't even think about it. How can this be called a trouble? Doesn't it serve as a good deterrent? But it's too much? Do you know that in just half an hour, the federal parliament has received dozens of telegrams questioning your new machine and condemning Orb? Questioning Orb? Questioning Orb for what? They don't know about the fortress. In their eyes, the Dawn series is a new technology developed by Orb. Just Dawn Erstellen creation is enough to scare them, not to mention that Freedom Wash, Guardian, and Justice Jejanangrif, Counterattack, are also present, as well as Setsuna who has never shown up. They may also have the same machine. How can they not be afraid? Durandal explained unhappily. Tisk, you'd be afraid if you have something to hide. Yang Hui rolled his eyes. If you don't have a guilty conscience, you won't be afraid of ghosts knocking on your door. If you don't have something to hide, what would you be afraid of? And it is precisely because of Orb's special position that no one from Orb, including me, participates in the federal parliament, and no one holds an important position in the federal parliament. That's because you don't want it. Didn't I give it to you in the first place? You. Speaker. You only served for 3 days. And then you pushed it to me with a hasty excuse. Don't you know? I don't have time to manage the affairs of this world. Not only me, but also Wang, Liu Mei, and Lakis are all busy. Of course I know. Do you think I won't accept your refusal if I don't know? Okay, let's not argue about these trivial matters now, and quickly resolve the trouble you caused. How else can this be resolved? Isn't it enough to just say that this is a new technology developed by the Earth Federation? Anyway, Kira, Aslan and I are all serving in the Federal Army. Are you willing to roll out the core technology of the Legion in this world? The core technologies of Promise Fortress and Promise Core must first meet the needs of the Fortress and the Core, and then be distributed to each world according to the different development progress of each world. However, there is one thing, whether the core technologies currently in service are distributed to these worlds, such as Macros battleships, fold wave jumps, Festum cores, etc., because the connected world seeks stability. These technologies have not yet been developed to the people's livelihood, and they are too advanced for these worlds. If they are distributed to these worlds now, it will only cause unnecessary disputes. Especially Macros battleships and Dyson Sphere technology. Now all the worlds connected to Promise Fortress, except for the Macros F world, are not ready for interstellar development. As for the Festum Core and Festum Factor, they are not afraid of the exposure of the things that happened back then. All those who participated in that battle either died heroically or became members of the Promise Core. Even the staff responsible for logistics are either employed in the Promise Core or transferred to other worlds. Therefore, there is no worry that the details of the battle will be exposed, and the coming of Festum again will not cause panic. You can't even solve this? Are you kidding me? You caused it. Don't think I'll believe you just because you're pretending to be angry, Gilbert. Is this the first day I've known you? Oh, sure enough, after these words came out, Durandal, who was so excited that he was about to give up, was stunned for a moment, and the anger and excitement on his face disappeared. Is it so easy to see through? Who made me know so many old foxes? Yang Hui spread his hands and shrugged. Don't you just want to be lazy and leave this matter to me to deal with? Durandal was silent. He really thought so. For him, this matter was not difficult to handle, it was just a little troublesome, but this was the trouble caused by Yang Hui. Why should he clean up the mess? So Durandal pretended to be angry, wanting to leave this matter to Yang Hui to deal with, and he was happy to be free. Okay, I'll go to Fenderson tomorrow to solve this matter thoroughly, and then I'll go back to the fortress. There are already a lot of things that need to be dealt with by me. Okay, I understand. Now I regret asking you to come back to deal with this matter. After hanging up the phone, Yang Hui looked at Kira and Aslan who were helpless, and Kigali who looked worried. Okay, we don't need to worry about the aftermath. Gilbert can handle it. Yang Hui waved his hand, asking Kigali not to be so nervous. Alice, it's really hard for Speaker Durandal. Aslan and Kira shook their heads helplessly. Kigali on the other side also breathed a sigh of relief. Although Kigali was not the highest officer of Orb, she had grown up slowly and had begun to manage Orb. She had many opportunities to contact Durandal. It was just that Kigali always felt that Durandal was unfathomable and always had a sinister idea, so she didn't trust him very much, even though he was also a member of the Promise Fortress. However, Yang Hui said so. Kigali could not believe Durandal, but she believed Yang Hui. I'll go and reply to the message first. Ah. Really? I told you not to go too far. Hard work. No. Anyway, you're fine now, come with me. Don't, wait. Let me go. On the other side, Finderson, Aofa Ramtau and the Black Knight Squad returned and met with Omaha Ramble as soon as possible. Aofa, are you sure the records you sent back are true? Seeing Aofa Ramtau and others return, Omaha Ramble was impatient to confirm. Absolutely true, we saw it with our own eyes. Aofa Ramtau nodded seriously. Could it be some kind of sleight of hand? For example, the latest achievements of phantom particles, or mental wave hypnosis. Omaha Ramble continued to ask. The theory of mental waves is one of the technologies that have been decentralized and made public. It shouldn't be. Aofa Ramtau shook his head and denied Omaha Ramble's speculation. If it is a phantom particle, it will definitely leave traces and cannot escape our detection. As for mental waves, Dr. Yang Hui is just a natural person. Although Kira Yamato and Aslan Sarah are adjusters, according to your research, adjusters are not good at using mental waves. Maybe my research was neglected, or the emergence of mental wave theory has changed the adjusters, or maybe. Omaha Ramble paced back and forth with an anxious face. Aofa Ramtau and others knelt on one knee quietly on the ground, not daring to disturb them. It's no wonder that Omaha Ramble didn't dare to believe it and kept making excuses for himself. Even though they experienced everything at that time, they still couldn't fully accept it. Aofa. After a long time, Omaha Ramble finally controlled his emotions and reluctantly accepted the facts in front of him. Doctor, please give the order. Yang Hui will be here tomorrow, right? Yes. Alone? Probably not, he said. We tell the people below to be ready, to meet the highest standards, without any mistakes. And you, sure, put away your arrogance and don't provoke them. Understood. Aofa, go to the research department and the intelligence department immediately. Before they arrive tomorrow, you must produce results, even if it's just the slightest clue. Yes, Doctor. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1186, Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, Zai. Are there any results? In the bedroom, Omaha Ramble did not sleep all night. She could not sleep. As soon as she fell asleep, she would dream of Yang Hui standing in front of her with a proud look, looking down at her. Behind Yang Hui was the sacred and majestic Dawn Erstellen creation, and behind him was Finderson, which had been reduced to scorched earth. There are some results. Aofa Ramtau was not in high spirits. He had not slept all night, and his dark circles were deep. His face was pale. Last night he had been waiting for news from the intelligence department and the research department. There were news coming to him one after another, but the news he got was not very important, so he did not report it immediately, but just waited until dawn. But there was no valuable results. He summarized them and reported to Omaha Ramble. Go ahead. First, the speed of the three unknown machines. While reporting to Omaha Ramble, Aofa Ramtau called up the data obtained from the analysis and research of the Scientific Research Department. It's extraordinary. This speed cannot be sustained by all current and future technologies. GN particles can indeed offset the influence of gravity, but when it finally stops, even if the machine can withstand it, it is not something that the human body can bear, not even your tuner. Then there are the unknown weapons. First is Kira Yamato's machine. A wave of his hand can generate a force field barrier. Its defense is enough to withstand the power of a nuclear explosion. There is no result yet on the generation principle and detailed characteristics. Then there is His Excellency Yang Hui's machine. That black sphere is a simple concentrated energy body. In addition to producing an explosive power comparable to a nuclear explosion, it can also generate a phenomenon similar to a wormhole. Wormhole? Are you sure it's a wormhole? Arakuma Landel asked in horror. Based on the information we have at present, it's similar to a wormhole, after all. In order to make it more intuitive, Aofa Ram Tao specially called up the photos taken by satellites that showed the Earth being eaten away after the aftermath dissipated. The impact force of the explosion could not have left such a trace. It was directly swallowed up by a large round pit. Continue. Arakuma Landel was silent for a moment and said in a deep voice, "Yes, Doctor. In order to better analyze the unknown machine, we left a team behind to collect data on the scene after we evacuated. No traces of radiation were found on the scene. In other words, this concentrated energy ball comparable to a nuclear weapon is not a real nuclear weapon. And, the GN Super Dragoon that appeared out of thin air was directly condensed from GN particles. It can be judged that this machine can use GN particles to create GN Super Dragoons out of thin air. It is inferred that other weapons can also be created, but they cannot be kept permanently. They will turn back into GN particles after use. The golden particles have been confirmed to be GN particles, but why they are golden and why they can condense various weapons are still under analysis. Finally, the heavy artillery fired by the GN Super Dragoon, the intelligence sent back by the team responsible for collecting data, there is a slight distortion of the gravitational field at the scene, and the unknown energy cannon should be related to gravity. As for Asblanzala's machine, except for its amazing speed, it has no performance, but from the appearance, it should be a machine specialized in combat, and the rest is unknown. What are the results of the intelligence department? Arakuma Landel was definitely not satisfied with this level of results. The research department could only draw so many conclusions based on the data of the disabled on the scene and the video records of the battle. So, would the intelligence department have more valuable gains? The intelligence department did not gain anything. Aofa Ram Tao answered hesitantly. No gains? What's going on? Arakuma Landel questioned. Although Fenderson's intelligence department was not as powerful as Orb's, Arakuma Landel's network of contacts was not small at the time, and it was also a breakthrough scale, but there was no gain? This made her unbelievable. The intelligence personnel we arranged in Orb have already done their best to investigate, and even activated the spy that we had finally planted inside the Dawn Society, but we still haven't obtained any valuable intelligence. The intelligence personnel finally sent back information that the new machine has nothing to do with Orb and the Dawn Society, and the central database can't find any information. How could it be? Arakuma Landel fell into thought. All the technologies of the Dawn Society will be recorded in the central database. Those who can access the central database are all high-level authority holders of the Dawn Society. They also spent a lot of money to send this intelligence personnel in. It is very important and will never be activated unless it is an emergency. However, unexpectedly, not only did they not obtain any valuable intelligence in the first activation, but, from the tone of Aofa Ram Tao, it can be heard that this intelligence personnel is probably gone. Doctor, the intelligence department analyzed that the new machine should be independently researched by Yang Hui, and has nothing to do with Orb, the Aurora Society, or even the Heavenly Pillar. Aofa Ram Tao was unwilling to get this result, but this was the fact. He did not doubt that the intelligence officer would betray, because he was a tuner, created by Arakuma Landel like himself. Since it is an independent research, the transfer of funds, materials, and personnel. As long as there is movement, there will definitely be traces. We have checked everything, but still found nothing. Aofa Ram Tao naturally thought of this level. After receiving the intelligence, he immediately asked someone to check, but unfortunately, all the financial flows of Orb were clean, and Yang Hui's own. If they could find Yang Hui's traces for more than a year, would they still think he was missing? What's your suggestion? Arakuma Landel asked Aofa Ram Tao. Yang Hui will arrive in Fenderson soon. What attitude should they take? It is not advisable to make enemies. We should greet him with the best attitude, and then, maybe we can try psychological suggestion. Aofa Ram Tao suggested, although the theory of mental waves comes from Orb, Yang Hui is very powerful, and the new machine is also terrifying, but Yang Hui has a congenital defect. He is a natural person. Well, then do it. After thinking about it, Ola Mahalandal nodded and agreed. Now all the information Yang Hui has made public proves that he is just a natural person. Since he is a natural person, this congenital defect is fatal in front of the tuner. Moreover, if it can succeed, Finderson will control Yang Hui in disguise, control Orb, and also defeat Yang Hui, and also hold the world's strongest combat power in his hands. At that time, Finderson will replace Orb and reach the top of the world. However, Ola Mahalandal is not a person who is dazzled by the vision that has not yet succeeded. The risk of doing so is very high, and the cost is not something she can afford. Therefore, considering the possibility of failure, she must keep a backhand that can threaten Yang Hui and make him dare not pursue Finderson's backhand. Prepare, Star Destroyer, and keep it activated. Chapter 1187, Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, Zi. So, why do you want to drag me into this again? On the private plane from Orb to Finderson, Aslan kept complaining since he got on the plane, complaining that Yang Hui would drag him and Kira into everything he did. Kira could find an excuse, because there were two people that Ola Mahalandal wanted to defeat. One was Yang Hui, and the other was Kira's beastly father, Yulian Xiang. Yang Hui was still alive, and if he wanted to defeat Yang Hui, he would have to start from all aspects, and there was also a direct target, but Yulian Xiang had been dead for who knows how many years, and if he wanted to defeat him, he could only start from Kira, such as Tuner. So, this matter was related to Yang Hui and Kira from beginning to end. Why did he have to drag him, an insignificant person, into this? Question mark. Because you are my personal bodyguard. Yang Hui answered Aslan as a matter of course. Although he left Orb and went to Promise Fortress, Aslan's position in the Gundam Seed world has not changed at all. He is still Yang Hui's personal bodyguard. Since he is a personal bodyguard, it's okay to take him with him, right? I said I want to resign. Aslan sighed tiredly. As for the position of Yang Hui's personal bodyguard, which made many people jealous, Aslan wanted to tell those people that you think too much. First of all, this position was specially arranged for Aslan because of his identity. After all, his last name is Sarah, and the war had just ended. The death of Patrick Sarah also made him and the Sarah family the biggest black pot owners, and basically all the charges were put on them. At that time, Plant was controlled by the moderates. Although Aslan was not a member of the radicals, he was still hated by the moderates, so he ended up homeless. Orb can indeed accept Aslan, but even if Yang Hui and others don't say anything, the people below will also have complaints. At first, Aslan's idea was to change his appearance and hide Aslan's identity as Sarah. However, this idea was rejected by Yang Hui as soon as it was proposed. Isn't it good to live openly? In order to suppress the voices at home and to prevent Plant and other countries from causing trouble for Aslan, Yang Hui asked Aslan to be his personal guard to show his trust in Aslan, and also to warn Plant and other forces that Aslan is his man and not to have any bad thoughts. After all, the position of personal guard is impossible to get if you are not absolutely trusted. Let's talk about the second point, which is what I just said, absolute trust. The only people who can make Yang Hui absolutely trust are the members of Promise Fortress. The third point is strong strength. Whether it is driving Ms or individual combat ability, Yang Hui is top-notch. Without sufficient strength, let alone protecting Yang Hui, it will drag his feet. The fourth and last one, the one that Aslan wants to complain about the most, is that being a personal guard for Yang Hui will really shorten your lifespan. Yang Hui's bad taste is really too annoying. You never know what he is going to do in the next second. Maybe he went to the park to dance square dance with the aunties and play chess with the uncles in the last second, and then he took out a gun and shot a spy in the next second. Anyway, Aslan had enough and wanted to resign early in the morning, but Yang Hui never approved it, and he couldn't escape even if he wanted to. Until he joined the Promise Corps, Yang Hui's guard team had more people. If they were divided into teams to perform tasks, Aslan and Yang Hui were basically not in the same team, so naturally he didn't have to follow Yang Hui. If it was a core battle mode, it wouldn't be his turn. This time returning to the world of Gundam Seed, Aslan relived this sad feeling. Rejected, not approved. Alice. Aslan sighed. He knew the answer a long time ago, but he still used this behavior to vent his dissatisfaction. By the way, Aslan, what's going on between you and Kigali? Yang Hui asked Aslan. The relationship between them had changed too much, And Yang Hui hadn't seen Aslan return to this world to see Kigali. In the previous meetings, they also found that the relationship between Kigali and Aslan had faded. What do you mean? Aslan was stunned for a moment, not understanding what Yang Hui meant. It's just, you didn't get together. Yang Hui asked Aslan. Huh? Aslan had a strange expression and asked Yang Hui, what made you mistakenly believe that we would get together? Isn't it? Of course not. Aslan rolled his eyes. He had never been moved by Kigali from beginning to end. At most, like Kira, he treated this girl who was actually his sister as his sister. Okay. Yang Hui shrugged and didn't say much. It was okay to gossip about the relationship between brothers, but it was overstepping the mark to interrupt too much. I thought you had been keeping your virginity for that bear girl until now. Yang Hui. Aslan was embarrassed and angry. His personality determined that he couldn't afford such jokes. Okay, it's my fault, but you really don't have someone you like? You are very popular in the army. Aslan is very popular in Promise Fortress. He is a handsome man, strong, and gentle. Many female members have publicly expressed their desire to pursue Aslan, but Aslan has always maintained a polite attitude and declined. Yang Hui really thought that Aslan still had Kigali in his heart. Actually, I saw it privately. Aslan and Mealing went shopping. Kira said a little embarrassedly. Huh? X2 Yang Hui and Aslan were stunned at the same time. Aslan's expression was exaggerated, and his handsome face turned red, while Yang Hui looked at Aslan with a playful smile. Mealing? Mealing Hawk? A sick girl under Captain Talia. No. Let me explain. No need to explain, Aslan, we are all men, we understand. Really not. We just... Hey. Wait. Yang Hui. Don't. Aslan saw Yang Hui took out the pad, his fingers kept jumping. Aslan knew it was bad, and rushed over to grab it, but Yang Hui was not a man who got his reputation for nothing. He dodged it, his hands kept moving, and the smile on his face became more and more playful. After a while of playing, Aslan slumped on the sofa with no hope in life. His eyes were dull. Obviously he and Mealing were just ordinary friends. It was Mealing's sister Luna Maria's birthday that day, and the other friends were all busy. They happened to meet Aslan when they went out, so they made an appointment to pick a birthday present for Luna Maria. How come? Okay, Aslan, you are not young anymore. It's normal to want to find a companion. Yang Hui patted Aslan's shoulder and said earnestly, but the playful smile on his face never disappeared. Meeting was a coincidence, but it was also a date. Yang Hui clearly remembered that Mealing was one of the many female members who openly pursued Aslan. Others tried every means to ask Aslan out, but Aslan always declined. Why did she agree this time? Something is wrong. But let's discuss the gossip later. Anyway, it has been spread through the high-level group. The story will be more exciting later. Now. Adjust your state, we are almost there. Feeling that the altitude of the plane was decreasing, slowly passing through the clouds, you can see the blue sea and the vibrant land, as well as the prosperous Fenderson. Chapter 1188, Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, 13. At the airport in Fenderson, a private plane from Orb slowly landed on the runway. As the Prime Minister of Fenderson, Ofer Ramtow naturally had to personally greet the distinguished guest. Not only that, he also specially prepared a guard of honor and a welcoming team composed of senior officials of Fenderson. This is the highest welcoming etiquette of Fenderson, and it is also the first time it is used. Even when Delander visited Fenderson, it was only Ofer Ramtow who greeted him alone, without such a gorgeous lineup. It is also because Olamaha Landball has a little girl's body, which is not suitable for appearing outside in a big way, nor for welcoming foreign guests, so this job has always been the responsibility of Ofer Ramtow. Everyone, the distinguished guest has arrived, follow me to greet him. Ofer Ramtow saw the plane stop steadily, gave an order to the people behind him, and then led the team to greet him. The hatch opened, and seeing Yang Hui coming down, Ofer Ramtow adjusted his state and greeted him with a smile, but when he saw Aslan and Kara following closely behind Yang Hui, his smile froze for a moment, but he quickly adjusted his mentality and continued his work of welcoming him. Welcome to your visit, Sir Yang Hui. You're welcome, Sir Aofi. I'm flattered that your country attaches so much importance to me. Sir Yang Hui is too modest. With your status, you will be treated so politely wherever you go. You're flattered. Please. Yang Hui followed Aofa Ram Tao into the special car. Aslan and Kira did not take the same car, which also fulfilled Aofa Ram Tao's wish. He was waiting for the opportunity to meet Yang Hui alone. Sir Yang Hui, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come to Finderson. The Queen attaches great importance to your visit this time, and the palace has arranged a welcoming ceremony. Thank you for attaching so much importance to it. I will thank Queen Aura in person. You're welcome, Sir Yang Hui. After all, you are a respectable person. Thank you for the compliment, Sir Aofa. I just did what I should do. However, Sir Yang Hui's action is still so grand. I think, is it a bit too much? After all, the ecological environment in that area is still very good. Huh? Yang Hui was stunned for a moment. It was not because Aofa Ram Tao suddenly changed the subject. It was what Yang Hui expected. He specially arranged a separate car and must want to say something, but what surprised Yang Hui was that he felt a mental wave trying to influence him. That's quite interesting. Yang Hui raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and responded to Aofa Ram Tao calmly, as the saying goes, a centipede is still alive even after death. The Blue Cosmos organization has existed for so many years and has infiltrated all aspects of society. Because of the exposure back then, some people's faith collapsed, but there are also those who hide. Just like this time, someone secretly supported it, pushed someone to stand in front of the stage and waved his arm, and so many people responded. Aofa Ram Tao had a bad feeling in his heart. He was not afraid that Orb would find any substantial evidence. After all, the person in charge of the contact was the tuner. His loyalty was beyond doubt, and he would not sell out information even if he was caught. But Yang Hui's confident attitude made him very uneasy, especially the arc of his mouth. There was a sense of crisis, a hunter eyeing his prey. It is impossible to completely eliminate Blue Cosmos, at least not within 50 years. Yang Hui continued, the most troublesome thing about religious organizations is that the doctrines and spirits they promote are difficult to eradicate once they take root in people's hearts. This invisible and intangible existence is the most difficult to deal with, so I don't think it's too much. We should strike hard with the strongest attitude and completely implant fear into these people's hearts, suppressing their hidden beliefs, so that they dare not act rashly. I dare not agree. I think that Your Excellency Yang Hui has gone too far. It is right to show strong strength to deter, but we should also give the other party a chance to negotiate. After showing strength and making the other party afraid, we will have the initiative. At this time, it should be very easy to ask them to surrender. According to my understanding, Blue Cosmos is very similar to other religions. The majority of believers are ignorant and are bewitched by the religious leaders with illusory beliefs. If we can defeat them without fighting. Do you mean to say, give them a chance to reform? Of course it is. After all, many of them are just innocent people who have been bewitched. I'm sorry, Lord Aofa, I don't understand your point of view. Yang Hui interrupted Aofa Ram Tao with a smile on his face. I'd like to hear more details. Aofa Ram Tao didn't know what happened. He should have used sharper words to stimulate Yang Hui, and then used mental waves to influence and guide Yang Hui, but, knowing that the initiative was in the hands of the other party, he wanted to listen to him continue. Sir Aofa, you have probably never been to a real battlefield, have you? Sir Yang Hui, please stop joking. Garuda is my machine, and I often... No, Sir Aofa, the battlefield I'm talking about is not the kind of battlefield where you sit in and and fight terrorists, or even worse, stay in the rear of the troops and take charge of the command. Please don't underestimate me, Sir Yang Hui. Sorry, I misunderstood you. What I mean is, have you ever been to the battlefield in person? No, Ms. Only you, facing the enemy with your physical body. Indeed not. Then you must not have met a child, or an old man pointing a gun at you, looking at you with hatred, wishing to kill you immediately. No. Then, imagine if you were in this situation, would you let him kill you? Or would you kill him before he opens fire? Aofa Ram Tao really couldn't answer this question for a while. Undoubtedly, the answer must be to shoot and kill the enemy, but he just ridiculed Yang Hui on the humanitarian level. If he gave this answer, it would undoubtedly be a slap in his own face, but if he answered the former, it would be too stupid. I shot an old man over 70 years old and a child of 7 or 8 years old. Yang Hui's emotions did not fluctuate at all, as if he was not the one who did this, or it was not the person who shot and killed, but the ant on the ground that was stepped on to death. Sir Yang Hui, you. So my point of view is that it has nothing to do with age, identity, or whether you know it or not. As long as you pick up a weapon, you must be prepared to be killed. No one is an exception. Don't you think it's too cruel? Cruel? Haha. Yang Hui turned his head and looked out the window, smiling coldly. I have always been very cruel to my enemies. Gurgle Aofa Ram Tao swallowed his saliva. The biting cold breath made him shiver. It was not that his body felt cold, but that it trembled from his soul, as if his soul was about to be frozen. Because of the cold, Aofa Ram Tao also recovered from that strange state. He wanted to see if Yang Hui had really discovered something in his heart, but the weak mental wave wanted to penetrate Yang Hui's mental barrier, but it couldn't break through. How is it possible? No matter how strong your will is, you can't block the peeping of mental waves. Is it my problem? I was just affected. After failing to read his mind, Aofa Ram Tao's back began to sweat coldly. He had already found that he had been induced by Yang Hui without knowing it. In Aofa Ram Tao's view, Yang Hui was a natural person and could not use mental waves, so it was naturally impossible for him to build a mental barrier to block his mind reading. Mind reading requires a very delicate control of mental waves. The reason why mind reading failed was that he was affected by Yang Hui and could not concentrate. It was also because of this that Aofa Ram Tao was even more horrified. Without the influence of mental waves, he could be influenced and induced by words and momentum. How terrible is this? Aofa Ram Tao calmed down, focused his attention, and planned to try again, but unfortunately, the speed of the vehicle began to slow down and soon stopped. What a pity, I wanted to ask Mr. Yang Hui for more advice. Aofa Ram Tao saw that the vehicle arrived at the gate of the palace and naturally gave up the idea of continuing to peek. You're too kind. We were just discussing something. I won't leave until tomorrow morning, Lord Aofa. That's great, Lord Yang Hui. I still have many questions to ask you. As long as they are not private, there's no problem. At this moment, the car door was opened from the outside, and the sunlight just happened to shine on Aofa Ram Tao's face. Perhaps it was the stimulation of the sunlight or because of Yang Hui's words, his pupils shrank slightly. Chapter 1189, Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, Ziv. Sir Aofa. Aofa Ram Tao, who was slightly absent-minded, came back to his senses after Yang Hui called him, pretending to be calm and asked Yang Hui to get off the car first. Sir Yang Hui, please go first. This is also a necessary etiquette. The visitor is a guest, and Yang Hui's identity and status are indeed above him. He is also the strongest in the world. No matter which country or force he goes to, he is a top guest and he dare not neglect him at all. Yang Hui smiled and nodded. After getting off the car, he waved cordially to the reporters and the welcoming crowd at the gate of the palace. Aofa Ram Tao followed Yang Hui and waved cordially to the group leaders on both sides like Yang Hui, but he had already started to curse in his heart. What's going on? What on earth is going on? Did he notice something? It's impossible. Yang Hui is a natural person. He can't use mental waves. How could he find out that my mental waves can read people's minds? The doctor also said this. The scientific research department has also conducted a lot of experiments. Natural people can never sense mental waves. So what did he find out? Intuition? Or, just joking? In the conversation with Yang Hui, there are two words that hit Aofa Ram Tao's sensitive points. One is enemy and the other is private. In the former, it is normal for Yang Hui to evaluate the enemy, but Aofa Ram Tao does not think that Yang Hui is just simply expressing personal emotions, but a reminder, or a warning, to warn Aofa Ram Tao and Fenderson not to become his enemies, otherwise they will be as cruel to them as they were to the remnants of Blue Cosmos. In the latter, Yang Hui specifically mentioned not to ask private questions, which may also be a reminder to Aofa Ram Tao that your little tricks have been discovered by me. I'm warning you once, don't go too far. But whether it is the former or the latter, it is normal not to have such complicated thoughts. The former's words are just a kind of emotion and momentum that Yang Hui subconsciously exudes when talking about enemies. After all, Yang Hui is a veteran who has experienced hundreds of battles, and countless enemies have died in his hands. The latter's words are just a very ordinary joke, which does not make the atmosphere so tense, and also shows his humor and easygoing. Aofa Ram Tao himself has joked to others like this. Another point is that now he has realized that he is being led by Yang Hui. Many things he wants to say have not been said. The initiative of the conversation is completely in Yang Hui's hands. He has not gained the upper hand at all, and how firm is this will to be completely unaffected by the psychological suggestion of the mental wave? How agile thinking and sharp words cannot be affected but guide oneself? The arc of Yang Hui's mouth corners is a little bigger, because it is not obvious because of greeting reporters and people on both sides. Yang Hui heard Aofa Ram Tao's voice clearly. He is not a natural person, but the confidentiality work is done too well. People who have not joined Promise Fortress do not know that Yang Hui is not a natural person, or rather, he was not a natural person from the beginning. Pure-blooded reformers and NTs are both special bloodlines with special mental characteristics. Whether it is the strength of mental waves or Yang Hui's control and use of mental waves, they are not comparable to you, tuners, who can only use psychological hints. Therefore, without Aofa Ram Tao noticing, he used mental waves to block his mind reading and read his heart at the same time. It is simply too simple. There is also the festum factor. Although it is not a special bloodline with special mental characteristics, it still greatly improves mental waves, and if Yang Hui had not secretly used mental waves to block Aofa Ram Tao's mind reading, he would not have been able to hear Yang Hui's true voice. He would only hear one sentence, the sentence that frightened countless people, "Are you there?" Then, the person was gone. Although Yang Hui sneered at Aofa Ram Tao who tried to use mental waves to influence him, and he had no good feelings towards Fendershan, a country that was in chaos, he couldn't let Aofa Ram Tao get into trouble now, at least not on the surface. As the world's top combat power, Yang Hui's every move was in the side of all forces. Moreover, this time when he returned, Dawn Ersterlin, creation, showed a power that was enough to destroy the world, which made all major forces wary. If Yang Hui killed Aofa Ram Tao in public at this time, it would be a declaration of war on Fendershan. Coupled with the extraordinary combat power of Dawn Ersterlin, creation, all major forces would be terrified. As the king of the world, Yang Hui, is he going to break this peace? Is he going to conquer the world by force? After all, the high-ranking people of the major forces are mostly a group of people with persecution paranoia. After entering the palace gate and there were no flashlights, Yang Hui said to Aofa Ram Tao with concern, "Sir Aofa, please get some rest." Aofa Ram Tao, who was full of thoughts, was stunned for a moment, his smile a little stiff. "Thank you for your concern, Sir Yang Hui. It's okay. I am the Prime Minister of Fendershan. I am willing to work harder for the better development of this country." While saying this, Aofa Ram Tao subconsciously touched his face, because he had not slept all night. His complexion was very bad. In order not to have a digestive disorder while welcoming guests, he put on makeup to cover it up. Well, that makes sense, but a good body is the capital, and it is still necessary to combine work and rest. "I'm grateful for your advice, Your Excellency Yang Hui." Just as they walked to the door of the palace, they met the Black Knight Squad, who came to greet them. Aofa Ram Tao didn't want to continue this topic, so he introduced the Black Knight Squad to Yang Hui. "Your Excellency Yang Hui, let me introduce you. This is Shula Sepenton, the Minister of Defense of Fendershan, the commander of the Guard Division, and also the captain of the Queen's Guard, Black Knight Squad." "Hello, Your Excellency Yang Hui." Shula Sepenton is a very proud person. Except for Olamaha Lanbal, who is regarded as his mother, and Aofa Ram Tao, who is born to serve him, he doesn't take anyone else seriously, even Yang Hui. But Yang Hui's strong return broke this concept. Shula Sepenton's belief is that power is truth and he pursues overwhelming power. The power displayed by Yang Hui made it difficult for him to think of defying or surpassing. He was proud, not a fool. Knowing that he had no chance of winning, he would not show his arrogance to Yang Hui. "Hello, Lord Zilla, you are really an excellent talent. I am a little moved," Yang Hui said jokingly. "Please don't make such jokes, Lord Yang Hui. Orb is full of talents. There is no need to poach people from our country." Aofa Ram Tao responded with a smile. "Haha, just kidding. Please follow me, Lord Aofa, Lord Yang Hui, the Queen is waiting." Hearing this, Yang Hui raised his eyebrows slightly, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly, revealing an interested smile. Chapter 1190 Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, XV. The magnificent palace was deserted and lacked vitality. There were only a few servants passing by, but there were more guards standing tall everywhere. Yang Hui resisted the urge to shake his head and complain, and kept a calm expression as he moved forward. To be honest, he didn't like this kind of environment. Humans are social animals, and living in a place with fireworks would feel more cozy. Of course, it's not that hermits living alone are wrong, but Yang Hui prefers a lively environment. Just like Aslan's evaluation of him, when he has no official business, he likes to treat himself as an ordinary person, strolling on the street, chatting with other guests in the cafe, dancing with the aunties in the square, and playing chess with the old men in the park. At the beginning, everyone was very nervous when they recognized Yang Hui, but as the number of times increased, they got used to it and treated Yang Hui as an ordinary person to communicate. Yang Hui didn't claim to be king, but he was definitely the uncrowned king of Orb. It was no problem to build a palace like this as a residence, but he just didn't like this deserted feeling. Yang Hui and Ao for Ramtao walked side by side in front, while Aslan and Kira followed behind as guards, along with Shula Sepenton. "Excuse me, is there any problem?" Aslan couldn't help but ask Shula Sepenton in a low voice, because the other party kept staring at him. "Aslan Sarah, you are very strong, stronger than Kira Yamato." Shula Sepenton also answered in a low voice. "Huh?" Aslan and Kira were stunned at the same time, but soon adjusted themselves and followed closely. "I will defeat you and prove that I am stronger than you," Shula Sepenton said. This. Aslan was speechless. He was just a little follower, and he came here to be invisible. Why did he drag me into this? And Aslan is not good at judging the statement that he is stronger than Kira. His driving skills are comparable to Kira's, and Aslan's performance in the battle is not as impressive as Kira's. Moreover, Kira is recognized as the strongest adjuster. Logically, Kira should be stronger than him. Well, let's skip the topic of who is stronger and who is weaker. Aslan and Kira are very close companions. It doesn't matter who is stronger or weaker, but don't look for me because of this. If you want to challenge, go find the strongest adjuster. If that doesn't work, there is a stronger one right in front. Forget it, I'm afraid you will have a psychological trauma. Or, actually, there are many people who are stronger than me. Aslan answered Shura Sepenton inexplicably. He was talking about the members of the Promise Fortress. To be honest, Shula Sepenton's strength was not weak, and he was also at the middle level of B class, but in the Promised Legion, he was only middle class. If he liked to challenge the strong, he should be very popular in the Promised Legion. Are you talking about Sitsune F. Kingayan? Lyle Durandi? Or T-Iriord? Shula Sepenton became interested. He pursued the ultimate power. If he wanted to prove his strength, he had to constantly challenge the strong. He didn't know about the Promised Fortress and the Promised Legion, and he only knew the existence of Sitsuna and the other two. Oh, I guess so. Aslan's mouth twitched. In fact, Sitsuna, Lyle and T-Iriord were on par with him. It was hard to say who was stronger. He was actually talking about Graham, who, like Yang Hui, had always been the top strong man in the Legion. "I will defeat them, but I want to challenge you first." "Thank you," Aslan shouted in his heart. He didn't like to accept such meaningless challenges. It's not the mission period. Isn't it good to be a salted fish? However, on the surface, Aslan controlled his expression and answered Shula Sepenton, "I am the personal guard of the Supreme Leader." Shula Sepenton didn't say anything either. He looked at Yang Hui and thought about how to make Yang Hui agree to his duel with Aslan. "I'm sorry to make you laugh, Mr. Yang Hui." Aofu Ram Tao, who was walking in front, smiled bitterly. Although his voice was very low, he was not far away from them, and the palace was very quiet, so he could naturally hear what they were saying. Aofu Ram Tao had already cursed in his heart. Before finding out all the information about Yang Hui, don't provoke them. This was agreed at the beginning. As a result, you didn't provoke Yang Hui, but provoked Aslan. It's really looking for trouble. It's okay, Lord Aofu. Lord Shula is young and energetic, which is a good thing. Yang Hui responded with a smile. "Thank you for your understanding. It's just a small favor, you're welcome. Here we are, Lord Yang Hui, please come in. Please." Entering the main hall, Yang Hui saw Alamaha Lanbel, an old friend of Dilander and the Queen of Fenderson. At this moment, she was sitting on the throne. Her petite body and wise temperament were completely inconsistent, which made people a little surprised. Seeing Yang Hui coming, Ola Mahalanbal walked down the throne with the help of the blue-haired female official to welcome Yang Hui. Under normal circumstances, Ola Mahalanbal would not get off the throne, but when facing Yang Hui, she could not greet him with a condescending attitude, but could only treat him as an equal. Otherwise, it would be an insult to Yang Hui. Insulting Yang Hui without knowing anything would undoubtedly bring disaster to Fenderson. Nice to meet you, Your Excellency Yang Hui. I am Ola Mahalanbal, the Queen of Fenderson. Nice to meet you, Queen Ola. I am Yang Hui. Yang Hui's attitude was very calm and his eyes were very clear. He did not underestimate Ola Mahalanbal because of her physical problems, which made Ola Mahalanbal have a great favor for her. Other people who met her would be surprised when they met her for the first time, and then they would look down on her and regard her as a puppet of Aofi Ramtao. Although they would not show it on their faces, they would have such emotions and attitudes. But Yang Hui did not. He really treated her as an equal object for communication. Thank you for visiting our country, Mr. Yang Hui. I am very grateful for your contribution to world peace. You are too kind, Queen Aura. Your country has also made outstanding contributions in the field of combating terrorists. As a member of the Earth Federation, it is our country's responsibility to maintain world peace. The same goes for me. Ha ha ha, you are worthy of being Mr. Yang Hui. Only when such words come from the mouth of Mr. Yang Hui can people be convincing. You are too kind. This world has suffered too much from war. Peace is hard-won. Naturally, we must protect it. Any force that wants to destroy peace must be punished with thundering sanctions. Huh? Hearing this, Ola Mahalanbal was stunned. This was just a normal sentence, but Ola Mahalanbal felt that Yang Hui was talking to her, because just now, she saw a fleeting ruthless look in Yang Hui's eyes. Chapter 1191 Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, SV. Your Excellency Yang Hui is right. Any existence that disrupts peace must be severely punished. Although Ola Mahalanbal was sure that Yang Hui was targeting her, she could not show it and still maintained a calm smile. Your Excellency Yang Hui is very busy with affairs and has been traveling a lot. I have already arranged accommodation for the three of you and prepared a welcoming dinner for you. During the day, Aofi will lead you on a tour of the country. Thank you. I still have a lot of official business to deal with. I cannot accompany you. I hope Your Excellency Yang Hui can understand. You're welcome, Queen Ola. I'm sorry about this. Thank you very much for your understanding, Aofi. Yes, Queen. Aofi Ramtao accepted the order. Ola Mahalanbal's current posture was indeed not suitable to appear in front of the public. After all, her image as a little girl was a puppet of Aofi Ramtao in the eyes of those who did not know the truth, although she had shown her face in front of the public and showed her wise side. Please wait a moment, Queen. I have something to report. Just as Ola Mahalanbal was about to leave, Shula Serpent knelt on one knee and asked Ola Mahalanbal for instructions. Go ahead, Shula. Looking at Shula Serpent, Ola Mahalanbal's eyes softened unconsciously. Apart from Aofi Ramtao, Shula Serpentin was her most outstanding child, otherwise she would not have let him serve as the Minister of Defense, the commander of the Guard Division, and the captain of the guards, and almost handed the safety of the entire Fenderson to him. Therefore, unless the request was too excessive, she would agree to Shula Serpentin. Queen, Your Excellency Yang Hui, please allow me to challenge Aslan Sarah. Shula Serpentin asked Yang Hui and Ola Mahalanbal for permission at the same time. After all, Aslan was Yang Hui's personal guard. If he wanted to get permission, he had to ask Yang Hui for permission. Otherwise, it would be useless for Ola Mahalanbal to agree unilaterally, and it would even slap Yang Hui in the face in public. This. If it were any other matter, Ola Mahalanbal might have directly agreed, but this matter really made her look embarrassed. On the one hand, Ola Mahalanbal was also looking forward to the challenge between Shula Serpentin and Aslan to see who was stronger, the tuner, or the adjuster, who was stronger than the strongest adjuster. On the other hand, Aslan's identity was special, and she couldn't agree just because she wanted to. It all depended on Yang Hui's opinion. Yang Hui didn't agree directly, but looked at Aslan. Aslan, what do you think? No problem. Aslan wanted to roll his eyes and then refused directly. But since Shula Serpentin proposed it in such a formal occasion, Aslan had no room to refuse. A personal guard has no official position and no real power, but represents Yang Hui's face. If he refuses because of his personal ideas, he will be seen as cowardly in the eyes of others, and Yang Hui will lose face without fighting. Moreover, he read Yang Hui's playful thoughts. Aslan agreed, so I can't spoil his interest. No problem. Yang Hui nodded with satisfaction, and then agreed to Shula Serpentin's request. Thank you very much, Mr. Yang Hui. Shula Serpentin was a little excited, and then looked at Aslan with fiery eyes. But Mr. Shula has an important position, so let's conduct the duel in the mode of sparring, and don't use Ms. After all, guns and cannons have no eyes in battle. Yang Hui added. Mr. Yang Hui is right. Ola Mahalanbal also agreed with Yang Hui's suggestion. Now is not the time to tear each other apart. Just spar. Driving a Ms to fight is indeed too dangerous. Moreover, Aslan's new machine has too many unknowns and the risk factor is too high. The guest is the guest, and the guest should follow the host's wishes. The content of the sparring will be decided by Mr. Shula. Yang Hui raised his hand and said politely to Shula Serpentin. In this case, how about swordsmanship? Shula Serpentin expressed his thoughts. Swordsmanship. X2 Not only Yang Hui, but even Aslan was stunned for a moment, and looked down at the night sword on Shula Serpentin's waist. So, this thing is still a real thing, isn't it for show? In the minds of Yang Hui and others, night swords and the like are useless except for the ornamental value of the honor guard. After all, the mainstream is hot weapons, and firearms are used for longer distances. Even in close combat, night swords are not as useful as combat daggers, and there are also pistols. The use of pistols in combat is also one of the standard training subjects for members of the Promised Legion. Yes, swordsmanship. Aslan. Yang Hui looked at him again. Aslan understood what Yang Hui meant, and then shook his head regretfully to Shula Serpentin. I'm sorry, I haven't been exposed to swordsmanship much. I have received the most standard military training from the military. There is no swordsmanship, and I don't have any interest in this area. If Sir Shura allows, how about changing to close combat? Cold weapons can be used. Hearing this, Shura Serpentin's face was a little ugly, not because of Aslan's refusal, but because of the standard military training subjects he mentioned. Isn't this saying that he is not doing his job properly and is not a standard soldier? Even Yang Hui and Kira were stunned. Even Kira could sense other people's emotions now. What Aslan said just now was not unintentional, but he said it deliberately to provoke Shula Serpentin. Isn't Aslan a gentle person? When did he start talking trash before the game? Okay. Let's compete in close combat, and cold weapons can be used. Shula Serpentin's pride was indeed stimulated, and he agreed to it when he was excited. Lord Yang Hui. Aslan's mouth curled up slightly, and he turned to Yang Hui and saluted. The content has been determined. Well. Yang Hui resisted the twitch of his eyes, nodded, and looked at Ora Mahalanbal, Queen Ora, time and place. How about the internal training ground of the personal guard? The field is open, the corresponding equipment is complete, and there are not many people watching. Ora Mahalanbal suggested, if possible, I want my personal guard captain to learn something, how about it? Well, no problem. Yang Hui sneered in his heart, learn something? Isn't it just to wait for Shula Serpentin to defeat Aslan, so that Findarshan can be proud? However, facing the current Aslan, it is still in the field where he is good at, and it is indeed a broadening of his horizons. Aslan's driving style is combat assault, but it does not mean that he is only good at close combat when driving a Ms. Aslan's close combat is also top-notch, not to mention that he has been spotted by someone in the Safru Alliance, who wants to take him as a personal disciple. Chapter 1192 Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, 17. Led by Aofa Ram Tao, the group came to the special training ground of the Black Knight Squad. Aola Mahalanbal had already said that she could not accompany them due to official business. Even if she was looking forward to the duel between Aslan and Shula Serpentin, she could not watch it on the spot. She could only watch it through the surveillance screen, otherwise it would be a slap in Yang Hui's face. How is it, Mr. Yang Hui? Aofa Ram Tao asked Yang Hui for advice. Yang Hui was not only strong in combat ability. According to the information found, the first batch of our Ms troops were trained by Yang Hui, Setsuna, Lyle, and Tiria. That was also the most powerful force in Orb. The current Orb Army and even the regular training regulations adopted by the Earth Federation Army were left by Yang Hui. Therefore, In terms of military affairs, Yang Hui has the most convincing say. And Aofa Ramtao asked the members of the Black Knight Squad, who were training in the training ground. Not bad. Yang Hui nodded calmly, not angry. Please advise me. Aofa Ramtao understood that Yang Hui was not very satisfied, so he asked humbly. After all, if the suggestions Yang Hui made were really useful, it would also benefit Fendershan. It's okay to focus on the training of knight swordsmanship, but on the real battlefield, general close combat is more practical, and combat daggers are also suitable for more environments. Also, your physical fitness is too poor. Hearing this, Aofa Ramtao was stunned for a moment. If he hadn't felt Yang Hui's serious attitude, he would really think that Yang Hui was mocking them. They are tuners, who are better than adjusters. Since birth, their physical fitness is far better than that of natural people, more than twice that of natural people. How can this physical fitness be poor? Sir Yang Hui, physical fitness. I've read the information. Tuners are above adjusters, and the starting point is very high, but is your pursuit just to surpass natural people and adjusters? Yang Hui glanced at Aofa Ramtao and said calmly, also mocking them. This. Yang Hui did not say anything more after saying so much. He said so much because he was very strict in military training. The relationship between the two sides was not clear at first, and Yang Hui did not have the habit of helping the enemy. Hula Sepenton, who was standing by, also heard it. At first, he was going to get angry. He hated being looked down upon the most. But when he said the second half of the sentence, he was stunned, because this sentence touched his heart. His goal was to be the strongest. What is the strongest? After defeating all strong enemies, you will be the strongest. So, will there be more and more powerful enemies? In Hula Sepenton's eyes, Yang Hui is the strongest. As long as he defeats Yang Hui, he will be the strongest. But, hearing this from Yang Hui's mouth, it makes people feel that Yang Hui is already the strongest, and he is still seeking a way to become stronger. There are even stronger beings than him. I'm grateful for your advice, Mr. Yang Hui. Let's get started quickly. After all, we will only stay here for one day. Yang Hui said to Aofa Ramtao with a smile. I understand. Aofa Ramtao nodded to Hula Sepenton, who then led Aslan down the training ground. The members of the Black Knight Squad who were training also stopped their training and came to the audience seats to watch. They looked like they were enjoying a good show, and looked at Aslan's expression with contempt and disdain. Let's bet on how long they can last in the captain's hands. 1 minute. That's a bit too much. I bet half a minute. Ha, isn't that even more excessive? Don't forget that we are the tuners who surpass the adjusters. I can't say anything about driving Ms. There are too many unknowns about their new machines, but physical combat, tisk. I think the captain can solve it in an instant. It just depends on how long the captain likes to play. Then I bet 5 minutes. +1. The captain's preference for new things can only last for 5 minutes at most. Aofa Ramtao led Yang Hui and Kira to a specific audience seat from another direction. He couldn't hear what they were saying, but his attitude could be seen from their playful expressions. But Yang Hui was not angry, and the corners of his mouth raised a disdainful arc. Smile, the happier you are now, the more painful it will be when you get slapped in the face later. Aslan and Hula Sepenton stood opposite each other below. Aslan was playing with a tactical dagger in his hand, and Hula Sepenton drew the knight's sword from his waist and pointed it at the ground. Are you ready? Aslan Salah. You can start at any time. Aslan stopped playing with the tactical dagger, holding it in his hand, and let it hang down calmly, looking very casual and lazy. Are you looking down on me? Hula Sepenton frowned and asked Aslan, trying to suppress his anger. Of course not, but this is enough. Aslan answered calmly. On the one hand, it was the truth, and on the other hand, it was the trash talk that made Yang Hui and Kira's mouths twitch. You bastard. Hula Sepenton gritted his teeth and looked at Aofa Ramtao in the audience with a somewhat sinister expression. Sir Yang Hui. Aofa Ramtao looked at Yang Hui. After seeing Yang Hui nod, he took a step forward and prepared to announce the start of the competition. As he walked forward, he nodded to Hula Sepenton imperceptibly, agreeing with his idea. Begin. With Aofa Ramtao's announcement, the competition began. Hula Sepenton kicked the ground with both legs and rushed towards Aslan at a very fast speed, with the sharp tip of the sword pointing directly at Aslan's chest. It's over, The captain is angry. Aslan Saleh is finished. There's no need to gamble, the banker takes it all, and the angry captain can deal with Aslan in an instant. Alice, why is Aslan Saleh so disappointing? How is it possible? Seeing this, the members of the Black Knight Squad all knew that Shula Serpentin was angry. As their captain, they all knew Shula Serpentin very well. There were not many things that could make him angry, mostly because of his arrogance and disdain, but when he was really angry, it was very terrifying. At least they didn't want to experience it themselves. But just when they thought that Aslan would be defeated by Shula Serpentin in an instant, a scene that they could not imagine happened. It was indeed over in an instant, but the winner and loser were completely reversed. The straight piercing knight's sword had been inserted into the ground not far away, and the empty right hand maintained the stabbing posture. Aslan had already approached Shula Serpentin, and the tactical dagger was across Shula Serpentin's neck. Feeling the cold touch on his throat, Shula Serpentin's pupils were trembling, looking at Aslan, who was so close, in disbelief. I'm sorry. How is it possible? Chapter 1193 Return to the Worlds of Gundam Seed, SYNOPSIS. Time goes back to the moment when the duel began. Shula Serpentin drew his sword. He rushed over and thrust the sword in his hand out. The sword was about to pierce his chest. He was excited, but the next second, Shula Serpentin suddenly felt a sharp pain in his wrist holding the sword, and a deep sense of powerlessness. No matter how hard he tried to hold the knight's sword tightly, he couldn't do it. He could only let go and let the sword fly out from the side of Aslan's head and pierce the ground. At the same time, he didn't care so much, because the dagger in Aslan's hand had already come up and stuck to his throat. The cold touch was enough to freeze his soul. It was not the sharpness of the dagger, but the call of the god of death. He didn't dare to move at all. Shula Serpentin knew very well that as long as he moved, he would die, absolutely die. I'm sorry. Aslan said calmly, and then moved the tactical dagger away from Shula Serpentin's throat and took 2 steps back. In the blink of an eye, the winner was decided. Except for Yang Hui and Kira, who were confident, no one on Fenderson's side could react. Fake. What happened just now? No. I don't know. I just saw the captain rushing up. And then, my eyes were blurry for a moment, and the captain lost. This speed. Sir Yang Hui, this is. Just as Yang Hui and Kira had absolute trust in Aslan, Aofa Ramtao was also very confident in Shula Serpentin. The innate conditions of the tuner were already a cut above the adjuster. Shula Serpentin was also the best among them. He had a high starting point and was also very hard-working. If it was just a physical close combat, it would be impossible for him to lose to the adjuster. But now, not to mention that his face was hit so hard that it made a loud paya sound, even he couldn't see Aslan's movements clearly. There was an after-image of the physical movement. Is this something a human can do? It seems that Aslan is more skilled, Lord Aofa. Yes. Although he was very unwilling, the result was very obvious. Shula Serpentin lost, and lost miserably. The facts were before him, and he had to admit it whether he wanted to or not. Aofa Ramtao was not the kind of person who could not afford to lose and would cheat. Yang Hui nodded, waved to Aslan, indicating that he could come back, and then said to Aofa Ramtao, "Then Sir Aofa, I'll ask you to take me to visit Fenderson next." "No problem, Sir Yang Hui." Adjusting his mentality, Aofa Ramtao regained his calm mentality. Aslan's skills were beyond his imagination, but they were only on the physical level. The real killer was not so simple. There was still a whole day of opportunity. Aofa Ramtao planned to increase the intensity of psychological suggestion, and then influence Yang Hui to make an irreversible mistake, and then. Shula Serpentin in the center of the training ground was still stiff, and he didn't come back to his senses until Aslan returned to Yang Hui's side. He stared at Aslan with his eyes fixed and his trembling fists clenched. The moment just now was deeply imprinted in his mind. He replayed it over and over again, and found that there was no way to deal with it. Aslan's physical combat was far beyond his imagination. Whether it was his physical fitness or the action that made him lose his grip on the sword just now, the size of his strength and precise control were beyond his reach. Even if Shula Serpentin could read minds like Aofa Ramtao, the outcome was only a matter of seconds, and there was no chance at all. However, Shula Serpentin was not the kind of fool who would not admit defeat after losing, saying, "Do I still have the ability to read minds?" Thinking of what Yang Hui had said before, He would only work hard to become stronger and stronger, and defeat the powerful enemy in front of him. I will definitely defeat you. Shula Serpentin swore in his heart, and then his eyes turned to Yang Hui and Kira. And you, Kira Yamato, you must not be much weaker than Aslan Sarah, right? And Yang Hui, I will definitely defeat you and prove to the doctor that I am the strongest. The sparring was just a small episode and did not take up much of Yang Hui's time. During the day, Yang Hui took Kira and Aslan to follow O for Ramtau to visit Findershan. Not bad. Although it is a small country, Ola Maha Lampal's IQ is beyond reproach. Ao Ramtau's ability is also good, quite like Orb's style in the past. It is too small to grow. If it expands its territory and expands its own size like Orb, it will become a powerful force that cannot be ignored in the world. After a day of visiting, Ao Ramtau took the three back to the palace and started a welcoming banquet for the three. Although they were leaving tomorrow, they still had to show their attitude. At the banquet, Ao Ramtau introduced Yang Hui to the senior officials of various departments of Findershan and the owners of major financial groups. These people's attitude towards Yang Hui can be called flattering, but their true thoughts could not escape Yang Hui's mental wave induction, and they all had some small thoughts in their hearts. Yang Hui didn't care about this, especially businessmen. Businessmen who didn't have some tricks in their hearts were not qualified to attend such a banquet. After all businessmen are treacherous. However, Yang Hui didn't like this kind of banquet very much. It was gorgeous and hypocritical, full of dirty stench, especially the induction of mental waves, which was clear. After chatting with other guests, Yang Hui came to the balcony with a glass of wine. He wanted to take a break with Kira and Aslan, but he saw that there were many people looking for them to chat, and even the two of them looked at Yang Hui for help. Yang Hui ignored them and whistled to the balcony alone to get some fresh air. What a joke. He finally got rid of this group of people. How could he help you and let himself get into trouble again? However, Yang Hui wanted to rest, but some people were not willing to do so. As soon as Yang Hui walked onto the terrace, Ao Ramtau came over with a glass of wine. Sorry, it seems that the banquet is not to Yang Hui's liking. We are negligent. You are welcome, Lord Ao. It is a very good banquet. It can be seen that your country has put in a lot of effort. If you really liked it, you would not have left the venue. I met too many people and talked too much. I am thirsty and want to take a break. Yang Hui raised his wine glass to Ao Ramtau and took a sip. Isn't this nonsense? Isn't there a line of I don't like formalism in the intelligence you found? This is Yang Hui's inner voice. Ao Ramtau is still a little surprised. He has been with Yang Hui for a whole day, trying to guide Yang Hui with mental waves and trying to read Yang Hui's mind, but for some reason, the mental waves seem to be out of work and there is no result. Until now. He finally heard what Yang Hui was thinking. Now that the use of mental waves has finally taken effect, we should take this opportunity to increase the intensity, so as to guide Yang Hui, give him psychological hints, and then. It's really annoying. I always feel like I'm being watched. I've had this feeling since I arrived in this country. It's really annoying. If it weren't for Gilbert's sake, I would have led my troops to destroy them if I had found out that they were supporting Blue Cosmos behind the scenes. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.